The meeting of order.
Yeah.
We'll start with roll call. Ruth,
Here.
Neely, here, Turner,
Here.
Lynn,
Here.
Brandon,
Here.
all right. You're gonna read the mission statement. Yep. To empower students to discover their passions and reach their potential through personalized educational experiences, strong supportive relationships, and a culture of belonging, preparing them for lifelong success. Next, we will go to our grateful statement. I'll start.
Okay.
I'm grateful. My friend Liz agreed to serve another term with the school board. And I'm also grateful that Andy is joining the team.
Gosh, well, I don't know if I'm grateful for that. I don't know. No, I am. You know, sometimes you get put in places because that's where you're meant to be at the time you're meant to be there. And I guess that's my sign. So no, I'm grateful to see all these young men who I've watched many of them grow up since they were like about this big, here tonight to celebrate some success this fall. So congratulations.
I'm grateful for the focus on not only just facilities now, but also the just kind of this push toward academic evaluation of where we are as a district, and that everybody from administrators to Dr. Sini have been all in with looking at what we can do to get better, to just continue to improve.
I'm grateful for the turnout tonight. I'm grateful for these young men. I agree. I'm glad Elizabeth's going to do this another couple years. And I agree. Sometimes you have to do where you're put so that you can help finish something. And I am grateful for this team, and I am grateful for the new addition. And I'm just grateful for East Marshall.
I'm grateful for the direction that the school is continuing to go. These types of meetings are amazing, and we haven't been able to experience those, at least since I've been here for the last couple of years. So thank you guys for all coming too. It is wonderful to see everybody.
I will piggyback off that. It's nice to see a big crowd here for all of us, and I appreciate the YES committee. Without you guys, probably wouldn't be moving in the direction that we are, so we have a lot of good things going.
I am grateful for people's willingness to jump in and help out, no matter what it is. I feel like people answer the call, whether it's, can you come to more meetings? Can you come to a committee? Can you come work concession stand? Can you come cover classes? I feel like we've got a great group of people, whether it's parents, teachers, paras, whoever, and they all jump in to help out. So I'm very grateful for that.
All right, we're gonna move into communication from the public. So the board invites any member of the audience to stand and provide comments about items of interest or concern related to this. Comments are limited to 3 minutes so that we can keep the meeting moving in a timely fashion and allow the others opportunity to speak. Comments from the public during this time are not limited to items or topics on tonight's agenda, but they are limited to matters within the board's authority. Please understand that because of the open meetings law, we cannot discuss items not already on the agenda.
Apps.
Okay, not on the agenda. Also, please remember you are making comments in a public meeting. Your comments create a public record, and defamatory comments will be ruled out of order and may be subject to legal action. As a method of establishing board consistency and following established policies, comments from the public or any non-board members will be limited to this public comment section. We will not allow non-board members to provide input on agenda items later in the meeting unless specifically asked by the board. This is a change from past practice, but a necessary one to facilitate the organization and flow of our chain of command is clear, and we pride ourselves on following that priority and encourage you to reach out to the appropriate individuals to follow that procedure if necessary. We will now open the meeting for public comment. Thank you for the support of our district. So do we have any public comments? Right. We are going to go to approval of the agenda.
Make the motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Can I get a second?
I can second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. All right, next we are going to move to the presentation section of the agenda.
Awesome. City Hall. Coach Goodrich, Coach Hall, can you guys come over here too, please? Not sure how we're gonna do the football team. I guess we're just gonna have to all gather around the table, but anyway. So, in August, was it? Was it August? Yeah, it was August. We started to recognize state participants for, East Marshall Athletics. So we started with the softball team this summer, recognize those students and also, their coaches for going to state, not just 1 year, but 2 years in a row. We thought that was an awesome accomplishment. So they all came to the central office in Gilman and we gave them, some certificates, right? So this fall, obviously, we had St. Paul was our state cross-country representative from East Marshall that she earned her way, punched her ticket, so to speak, state cross-country meet. So we are handing out some certificates to both she and her coaches, Coach Hall and Coach Goodrich. So Coach Goodrich and Coach Hall and Sydney. Oh, just a second, I gotta talk about it for a second. So for those folks that aren't really very familiar with cross country, I think sometimes people think of it as you condition, you run hard and you go as fast as you can, right? Is there more to it than that?
No.
No, there's. Well, here's your certificate. But there is more to that. There is more to that, right? So when you go to cross country meets, lots of times you'll see these kids wearing sweatshirts or t-shirts and on the back it says, our sports, what you guys do for punishment, or what other sports do for punishment, right? So like there is a strong mental aspect to cross country. So not only is it, I've got to run, I've got to be aware of who's all around me, the topography of the land, how I'm feeling about myself. So there is like a huge sense of self-awareness that you have to have as a cross-country runner to really be successful. And so there is a mind over matter, kind of mind over physicality type of a mentality that you have to have as a cross-country runner if you want to be outstanding at your craft, at your sport. And I think that Sydney definitely exemplified that this year. And obviously being only a junior, you've got a lot of pressure on yourself to make there next year as well. So on behalf of the board, on behalf of the school district, congratulations.
This is our third season in a row, going to state, by the
Oh,
way.
that's all right.
At track, softball.
Okay.
cross-country.
Good.
Our teams were fun to work with this year, proud of their academic success. Girls, 3.92 average, then boys 3.93. We're extremely proud of Sydney, she had a healthy season, and got strong.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna have the football team join me up front. By taking away 3/4 of the audience, there's not much of an audience left. We'll kind of have to come over here off to the side. And then Coach Lee, Coach Burns, Weeder. What, you guys want to come over here? That'd be great. Okay. All right, so I want to recognize this year's football team, obviously, for their first football state appearance in 33 or 32 years. Was it 33? 33 years, okay, which is absolutely outstanding accomplishment for this group of young men. Obviously, this shows, a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of listening to coaches, and also recruiting your friends out, right? So you got those guys that maybe hadn't come out for a while before in the past, and you're like, hey, you can be part of this team, you can be part of special teams, you can be a backup player, whatever it is. So like you help kind of grow your numbers. A lot of time in the weight room, obviously, definitely helped your success this year for sure. And I think when you start thinking back at your team's success this year, like this is something that even your your dads probably don't remember, right? Like, so they weren't even in high school, like the last time that somebody went to state in football from East Marshall, which is absolutely outstanding, right? So the fact that you guys did this for the first time in 33 years, what does your certificate say there, Weaver? What's the title of it?
Elite milestone.
Elite milestone it's a play on the East Marshall EM, elite milestone. So this is an elite milestone. So, long time ago, I used to coach football, okay? Southern Iowa, small school, and the last game of the season, Coach Couchman would always take the seniors in the locker room by himself, right? So you want to talk to the seniors by themselves in the last game of the season. Didn't want anybody else in there, right? So one game versus Moravia, last game of the season, I thought, well, me being an assistant coach, I can go in the locker room and hear this speech. And the guy's speech almost brought me to tears. Basically, it was kind of the same thing that I talked to Coach Heimgartner about last board meeting. Was it was really about saying thank you, right? Thank you for the opportunity. Like, be grateful for this opportunity. Essentially, what he was saying was that these things come along once in a lifetime, and you didn't get here by yourselves, right? So when you start saying like, hey, how did we get here? How did we accomplish this feat? We did it together, right? And it's not just the seniors who did it. It's the seniors and the juniors and the sophomores and the freshmen who brought them all along to get to where you guys were this year, which is absolutely outstanding. So I want you to think about saying thank you to each other, saying thank you to your parents, your coaches, everybody else who got you there, who said, hey, get your butt in the weight room. Let's go. Like, we got to get better. We got to get better. And now this group has set that standard for the next few years. So it's, hey, how do we get the juniors to start doing this? How do we start getting the sophomores to start doing this? How do we start bringing in those middle school kids so they can be part of this tradition that you guys have now started? So congratulations. Hats off to all of you for this elite milestone. And thank you for representing our district the way that you did this year. It is so much appreciated. Excellent job, you guys. Coach Lee, do you want to say anything?
We're grateful for the recognition. It's nice to have. So I told the boys there'd be some food here, so. Grateful for the coaches and mostly of all grateful for the young men that are around here. They did make it through. This started a couple years ago. So really good senior leadership, some great juniors down there. So I'm really thankful they made it there. They kind of knew we were going to end up there. They got us there, and hopefully years will come. Great bunch of young men, especially.
Yep, absolutely. And for those of you guys who are in government class, Coach Thurm said he'd give you an A for the semester if you stayed for the entire board meeting.
They're complicated. Maybe I might.
I feel like he was looking for his exit.
You can ride.
I'll get out of that.
Yeah, go to the back one. Right.
What's that? Oh, yeah, that's community next.
Yes.
Because they have special certificates.
They do.
Yes.
You were gonna make the others jealous, so we'll see.
I was gonna make the others jealous, but the hard part is that I can't see. I didn't label them, so I can't see them. So anyway, so for 12 of our YES committee members, I can't tell you how many times in my board updates that I started off with a grateful statement saying, I'm so thankful for this group of people who have given so much time and so much effort to this endeavor, right? To the bond issue this year. There is absolutely no way in heck that this would have gone through without our YES committee members, their families supporting them, them supporting me, them supporting the district. I mean, this is an example of where we would have been if there wasn't a law yesterday. Like, no kidding, right? Like, this is the first thing that I showed them at our first meeting, like, hey, I've got an idea about a poster, and they all kind of looked at me, it's like, yeah. Good job, you. And I mean, the communities thrive by choice, not by chance. I mean, all the stuff that you saw on the Facebook page, the yard signs that we had, the banners that we had, the T-shirts that we had, and the coordination that we had as far as getting people's cell phone numbers and texting them and saying, hey, can you come out to this meeting, come out to vote. The time they spent coming to these meetings and hearing the same spiel over and over and over again. These are the stanchions, the old gym, and if I could put this thing down the wall, you see a big pile of concrete there, like I could see Paige Scott, like just going. Like doing that over and over and over again. And even when there were times where we're thinking to ourselves, oh my gosh, is this gonna go? We have some opposition here. There was always that calm presence, like, hey, we got this, folks, like, keep that abundance mindset high. Like, let's not get into that scarcity mindset. We can do this, and we have we're doing this for the right reasons. And it came back to that over and over and over again, whether it was emails or text messages, and if anybody wants to move anything in this district forward, I'm just gonna copy and paste the Yes Committee's email and cell phone numbers to you, because they're the people who can move anything forward. Anything. I mean, 42% of districts passed their bond issues in Iowa this fall. And there weren't very many 405 bonds that passed, and we did it, right? We did it. And it was all because of their energy that they brought to this. So thank you for everything that you did. I truly appreciate it. I don't know what else to say. My escape dinner. I probably could. But I'm an ugly crier. So I'm a terrible thespian. Okay, so Paige, this is your purple certificate, so. Thank you. See. Rachel. This is the undramatic part of it. Alex. Pete. And Sally.
The influencer.
Yeah. Social media influencer. Oh, Jess is not.
I just say thank you, just because I remember the previous meetings and it would be like board members and Pete. And it is so, this was amazing to the board to have you all come out and do what you did. So thank you.
Oh.
That was.
No, I
Okay.
And Kevin, you were pretty good.
Oh, thanks. So at one point in one of our Yes Committee meetings, somebody had said, hey, if you ever need anything else, let us know. And we are looking for SIAC committee members. Why don't we have our SIAC committee? That first meeting is December 1st at 6 o'clock in the comments. So I would love to have you there if you wanted to do that, but you don't have to. I also said you guys are putting a lot of time thus far. Yes, anybody can run. That's absolutely so. Again, Yes Committee members, thank you so much for everything you did, for all the time, the donations that you gave to this, and all your energy. Wouldn't have happened without you. So, thank you. Good. you want a copy of this, just for old time's sake. Let me know. Okay.
All right, we're gonna move into our consent agenda. So. Anything? Yes. Questions, any items? If not, can I get a motion to?
Well, just have a question about
Yeah.
the open, the enrollment.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That's denied.
Yeah, there was an open enrollment in, that was denied from South Tama, County.
Okay,
There was
they,
one, what's that?
they denied?
No, we denied the open enrollment in. It was not gonna work for programming for that student, so we didn't feel like we could do that.
Okay,
Okay,
okay. All right,
any other questions?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
and I can second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Gonna move on to contract approvals.
So we have Don Walton, who is going to be approved as a van driver for us. We obviously need, so there was that one. Resignations, we have that's there, that would be Isabel Rosales, she was a parent in middle school. Do we have a replacement for her?
We have someone starting as a sub on December first.
That's right, okay. And then volunteer coach, Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the personnel items as presented.
Can I get a second?
I can second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now we're gonna go to our action items. We're gonna review the approval of the election results.
Yeah, we just got that from the county auditor today, so I uploaded it today. And you just kind of see, it's just the official canvas of votes for both the two bond referendums and then also school board. So you can see those scattered votes there, those. But officially, we have to approve that as both.
I can make a motion for the approval of the election results.
I can second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We're gonna go to the adjournment of the retiring board member. So I need a motion to adjourn this board as it stands currently.
Make a motion to adjourn this board as it stands.
Can I get a second?
I can second that.
All in favor?
Okay.
Opposed?
Okay. So we also have a retiring board member, and Megan Root. So Megan, for her 2 years of service on the board, and I'm gonna say this because we'll never have him serve as a board member, but I just know that all of the, even though it may have only been 2 years, you still get an earful from people in the community, for people in your district about certain things that are happening in the school district. There's a lot of things that you can do, a lot of things that you can't do, a lot of things that you want to share, a lot of things that you can't share. So sometimes it makes it seem like, well, what are they doing as a board member? But all you can say is, I can assure you that we are addressing the issue, but I can't tell you exactly how it went, which is sometimes very, very frustrating for board members. But all board members, it doesn't make a difference you know, how long they've served or in what capacity, they're here for the right reasons, right? They're here to move the district forward and to do what's best for kids. And so that's exactly what Megan did during her time with the board. So, it's a lot of time away from home, a lot of time that you have to answer emails and phone calls and things like that, that maybe you'd rather be spending time with your kids or your husband or doing something else, but thank you for your service to the East Marshall Board of Directors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Too, okay, and then I can leave it open so he can at least toggle through.
Absolutely.
Perfect, that way you can have a log on and not be logged. Thank you, guys. You guys are, everything's moving in the right direction. Thanks. I'm just excited to be stepping away when it's moving in a great direction.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now you get to leave.
All right, I will call the organizational meeting to order. Roll call. Bloom,
Here.
Mealy,
Here.
Coronis,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
and Cole.
Here.
And do the oath with you. All right, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of school board member in East Marshall Community School District as now and hereafter required by law?
I do.
I don't need to do this again, right?
I didn't think so.
Okay. I will now call for nominations for president.
I would nominate Lisa Mealing.
Second that nomination.
We'd like to close it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, so Lisa Mealing has voted for president. And election of the vice president. Lisa, you take over from here.
All right. I would like to nominate Andrea Taronis for vice president.
Second that nomination.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right. All right. I don't know.
No.
Don't have to, I'm already on board. Okay.
So we are gonna move to the approval of bank depositories.
So Alice, that would just be our current First Citizens and.
Oh, so. it's-
Yeah, Citizen Savings Bank and First Interstate. And then-
Yes.
Yeah. So unless there's any changes we can change
Correct.
that. So we just have like motion to the positive
Yes.
said,
I can, okay, I can make a motion to keep Citizen Savings Bank and First Interstate Bank as our bank depositories.
Can I get a second?
And I can second that.
All in favor?
I
Any opposed?
Do I get to vote?
Or do you feel you need to?
think in the past you did
I think
abstain, if I remember.
I mean, I prefer to abstain so
Okay,
that,
yeah, that's-
since I
Yeah.
worked there,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. That are. So approval of the bank account authorized signers. That's the same.
Yeah.
We did
Stay
make
the
a
same.
change on that,
Right.
so we need a formal on that if we're not exchanging anything. let's leave it back down. So you want to make a motion to keep the signers?
I can make a motion.
Well, wait a minute,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
you've switched vice presidents.
Nope,
So,
because you were vice president last year.
No, Megan.
Oh, Megan was,
Yes,
okay.
we will.
yeah, so you'll need to get a hold of Heather and
Okay.
get that redone so that Andrea can be on there.
Gotcha.
That's the vice president. So,
We'll remove Ruth as
Yes.
Rona.
Yes,
Okay.
it's usually it only usually requires two signatures, so it's usually president, but there's like
Occasion.
an occasion. I think there was one occasion when I was vice president, I had to stand something.
So we just need to make a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can make the motion to remove Megan Roop as an authorized signer and add Andrea Toronas as authorized signer.
I can second that.
Right, all in favor?
I,
Any opposed?
Please provide minutes. So saying to another, thank you.
All right, next we're gonna move to the approval of interim payment of bills. And we have that, okay, let's skip that. Approval of president's designee to sign checks and use signature stamps on approved contracts, I think we're good there. Awesome. Next we'll move to approval of naming of an official publication.
Stay with the TR.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve the TR as our official publication.
I can second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next we're gonna move to the approval of legal counsel appointment and representation.
Kevin, can you remind us who it is now? That
Hours.
Yeah.
No, but it was Catherine Binkin. Now who is it?
Elizabeth Heffernan,
Yes.
but it's kind of a council by committee.
Okay,
So when we're talking about maybe bond things, it's gonna be Emily Colby. We're talking about
Okay.
contracts for like,
the CNAR.
real estate, it would be Rachel's Bank.
Okay.
But, so we just typically just say it's ours.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. I make a motion to approve Eilers and Cooney as a legal counsel appointment and representation.
I can second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Right. Now we are gonna do the approval of standing board committees. So we've got recommended board standing committees of finance, facilities, negotiations, achievement curriculum, and community engagement.
And we can have discussion about this, if there's something that you don't want, that we do want, that's totally up to the board's discretion.
To me, all of those sound good. I like the achievement curriculum one. We haven't had something like that before. So I do think that that would be valuable.
Definitely facilities.
Yep.
Yes,
So, and finance. Good at negotiations.
do you want
Me, no.
us to volunteer for something or
We
do
can
you
do that
want
now,
us to?
or we can do that when we approve the standing committee policy under
Okay.
policy updates, it's completely up to you.
Okay,
In negotiations in the past, we have had all of us. Do we want to do that or do we just want to have a separate?
I think two
Okay,
plus Allison,
Okay.
would be just fine.
okay,
Yep,
sounds good.
yep,
So right now, we just need to either approve or eliminate. If you don't
yes,
feel comfortable with
Yep.
any of these.
yep.
Is there any of these committees that you feel like we either don't need or have any issues with any of these committees? But I feel like they're all good.
do we have to be on the county? Whatever it is that I'm on?
Yeah, that's I would say
So,
that
like,
falls under the community engagement one.
That takes my name off that.
That's community engagement.
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
that one's probably community engagement, county compensation board.
Compensation board, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
We had one meeting a year.
And actually, Andy probably cannot serve on, because he would be a direct benefit of that,
Okay.
so.
Oh.
So there's two out.
So you said we don't come up with who's doing what yet?
We can do that under the policy, that can be just fine,
Okay.
yep.
Sounds good.
But you can be thinking of it between now and then, as far as a couple that you'd like to
Yep.
take on.
All right,
I make a motion to approve the standing board committees as presented.
and I can second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next, we are going to presentations. We'll start with Mr. Simmons.
Yep, so my, board report, obviously, again, just, saying how grateful I am for Avant, for the recipe, everybody who has, taken part of that. Also, just a little bit around just kind of the bond referendum results in terms of kind of next steps moving forward. We'll talk about that in the discussion items. But looking for that CMAR and then looking at some bonding options for the issuance and selling of those bonds with Piper Sandler, kind of the next steps there. And that's looking at obviously, the financial outlook and budget concerns. We'll talk about that during our exam session tonight, in terms of some things that maybe we can do moving forward. So we'll look at that in more during the exam session. Just a few notes there about some of the facilities issues that we're having. The high school boiler roof replacement is done. They're still building the wall that has to run some of the electrical. They're just gonna put a half wall in. Feel like Woodruff has done a really good job with that, obviously. But again, they're running into some issues, with just some logistical things as far as some subcontractors and other things, but it won't be very much more than what we originally contracted with Woodruff to do back in, I think it was August that we did that. The LED lighting, I just want to make sure that folks know that the custodians and Pam will start that work probably over Christmas break. And that will just simply be replacing a lot of the balance of our old fluorescent bulbs, both in LeGrand and Laurel, and then replacing them with LED. We could do that through a company, but I think I sent you a couple weeks ago, the bids for that were absolutely outrageous when we can probably do it ourselves. But again, that'll be an energy savings for us by switching to those LEDs. Baseball press box, we need to get a meeting together with Todd Long and Coach Chubb and Mr. Reeder. We do have some, I don't want to call it free, but very, very inexpensive labor offerings from MCC, from Professor Bennett over there. Would be willing to donate some labor to the bathroom. But we're kind of past the time to do the concrete footings for that. But as soon as we get that kind of set up, we can probably get that done in the spring and then have that ready to go for the season. In terms of like the technology infrastructure, we've had a little bit of a scare there with some HVAC issues going down in the tech room. We were a little bit scared that a lot of our servers and things would overheat because that room has no airflow. And then with the air conditioning not working, it has a separate unit that does that room, and the boiler kicking on. We were a little bit worried that we were going to lose all internet access to the district. But I think that we've got that fixed now, correct?
Well, it's a Band-Aid.
It's a Band-Aid for right now, until Jensen can come back and make a
Yeah,
permanent.
because we're about, 6 or 5 weeks now lead time before the unit will be here.
Yes,
So.
Yep.
We're basically, we have a portable air conditioner that's sitting on a cart that's pointing at the server rack. That's basically blowing on it to keep it
right.
for the time being.
This is here at the high school.
This is here at the high school. Yep. Yep. Let's see. So this is BLT notes as far as quickly construction. We're continuing to meet with our calendar committee. That should not say 25, 26, that should say 26, 27. Next year's calendar, there's drafts link there. If you'd like to take a look at that. The big change for us next year is what we're looking at is moving towards full days of PD in the first Monday of the month. That will replace the early outs on Wednesdays, which we obviously know is a change for the district and for the communities, but we felt like we could get more maybe some deeper work done with our curriculum and tier 1 work by doing that. Plus, if we look at doing that science of letters training next year, that would take large chunks of sustained time that we could not do on those early out days on Wednesdays. So that's the change there. We have built in snow days in that calendar thus far. We have January 18th, which is Martin Luther King President's Day, and also a Monday in April, just in case we have some snow makeup days. The idea there is that it would still be out before Memorial Day. So if you haven't taken a look at that link, you can have a look at that. But that's kind of where we are right now. We did meet this morning, and we'll also put together a calendar that would give us the option to start earlier than August 23rd. If by chance something happens in the legislative session this year where they roll that that date back to the 18th of August, which would be awesome, because then we could have a little bit more flexibility with doing some things and still get out before Memorial Day. So again, we're looking to get that approved early, but also have that backup option in case things within this legislative session change. So, yeah. With our safety and emergency planning, we just have a few maps to put on our emergency action document that you guys have a hard copy of. And once we get that done, it'll be pretty much a done document. We had law enforcement, EMS from Marshall County, the principals were involved in that process. Just to note there about CMAR, in terms of, looking at that, we'll talk about that during the discussion session, so there's not, there. So, had a chance to talk to the Marshall County Leadership Committee, the leadership, what is that called? The Marshall County Leadership?
It's Marshalltown Leadership Institute, yeah.
Marshalltown Leadership Institute back in October, had a really good discussion about the future of rural schools. I don't know, it was fun. It was fun to be part of that panel. And I'm also doing something at FCC on the first with JC Large from West Marshall, talking about students, maybe leaving, going to college from Marshall County, but then coming back and making a life for themselves to kind of bolster their communities as well. So I think our seniors, West Marshall seniors, and I think Marshalltown seniors are going to be there that day. So that'll be a fun event. So.
They have students now as well. I'll be a part of that.
Oh.
I'll be a part of that.
Good.
It's all seniors
Yes.
as target group.
Yep. Yep. So, yeah, so should be fun. So questions for me on anything from my report? Yeah.
All right, Mr. Rasmussen.
Got a lot of review of things of my report, things that already happened. Just go back, we did have a number of juniors take the BSAT. With our FFA members will be presenting probably next month on their trip to the national convention. Heritage conferences, held those a few weeks ago, feels like months ago, but it was just a couple of weeks ago. Obviously Sydney Hall qualified for the state cross country meet, excellent, accomplishment, football team and all the other support. So we had a lot of stuff, a lot of good things happen this fall, for activities, programs. Mr. Thurm, last couple of years, has taken the seniors down to the, Iowa, spring sport appeals. I got a chance to kind of sit in on some trials, and stuff, and kind of get a better chance of really looking at what, taking a look at what that whole process looks like. Actually, in the last couple of years, we've done that. We've had a number of people have come back and had interest in the court reporting, positions that are there. So, always a good opportunity for them to see what it really looks like in action. Some of the things they're talking about, government class, it looks a little bit different person than we were just talking about it in the classroom. So he's done that last couple of years, been a very good field trip for that group. Fall musical went very well, had a huge crowd, all three performances. From their theater went very well. Student put on great performance. You got a chance to watch it. Well versed and really did a great job of presenting themselves. It didn't look like a high school musical. It looked like much more of a professional performance. I think Mr. Hooley, for his first year being a musical director, did an excellent job as well. And look forward to spring play with them and our group of students that are pretty excited about doing it. So definitely come back. Last couple of years, we've had some down numbers. I think those programs are starting to have lots of excitement and energy in the area. They get some big excitement with it. Music festivals were held. NICL Chorus Band for the last 2 nights up in Jesup and Rhinebeck. We had chorus for Old Man Go. I think the kids appreciated being able to perform with large groups. I had to get, it's amazing the difference of sound when you go from having, 10 or 12 to 100, students, or over 100 singers. The sound is just completely different, so it's good opportunity for kids as well. Last one there is just winter sports kickoff, basketball, girls basketball started last week, girls wrestling started 2 weeks ago, they already have beats. Boys basketball, boys wrestling just started this week, I think I had numbers there, I told, I had about 1 point, it's like 80 some kids involved. I think so. Between cheerleading and all sports, which currently in high school, we've got about 196 kids, so not quite half, but definitely well over a third, so pushing 40% of our kids, just high school winter activities.
You. Questions? All right, this is good.
All right, so we've got some celebrations and shout outs. We had our first quarter assembly on October 31st and gave out a honor roll, a honor roll, fall sports certificates and some students who were just demonstrating outstanding character. Kind of wanted to give a shout out to Miss Stone and Miss Pfizer. They did a red ribbon week with different dress up days, and then they also kind of sponsored a movie night. After our trunk or treat. We had a successful first trunk or treat night. I'd say Mr. Sin won the award because he brought those big blow up things and the kids were just in awe. So he won that award. Shout out to Mr. Sin for his knowledge of flag raising ceremonies and flag retirement. We had a successful Veterans Day celebration. We had a few people that came in and kids that talked about who they had in the service, so that was a great time. Mr. Sin is also, he likes to eat his toast and everything here. He is doing esports, starting that out, and he's not really a gamer himself, but he has a son that's a big gamer, so he's reached out and learned a lot about it. They're actually competing this year in a league that North Tama put on, and there's about 11 other teams. He has 7 players, a mix of 6th and 7th, and then we've had some help. He's had some help from Ryan, his son, and then also Wyatt Andreessen and Cameron Lamford came over and helped. It was great to see them helping the kids on Monday nights. I always put in data, it's more for me and for you guys, but just about attendance. Right now we have 4 students that are at 10 to 15%, and a student at 15 to 20%. Trying to get a hold of 2 parents to get the intervention meetings going. For the 2 that are on that. The discipline behavior, we're starting to see a few more behaviors, which is normal at the middle school level, but nothing too major. Tardiness, those are amping up a little bit, so we have some students who have unexcused tardy, so we're working on that. We have 90 students who are on the honor roll, 38 A honor roll students, 52 AP honor roll students. Our parent teacher conference attendance, we had 82% overall, 79.5% 6th grade, 88.7% 7th grade, and 77.1% for 8th grade. And I feel like that was pretty good turnout for us this year. And so we're continuing to do our priority standards work. We're kind of now trying to incorporate that new curriculum and finding out how it aligns and how to best use it to meet those priority standards so that all kids master them. We went to a decaf work session, Mr. Rasmussen, myself, and our two counselors. I hadn't been a part of that, so that was interesting. So for those of you that don't, I think y'all know what decaf is, but it's kind of a framework that the school district uses to plan and implement a successful career and academic planning process for all its students. Now they're kind of bringing in middle school and also some of the fifth grade. Yeah. What we did, reviewed new laws, analyzed last year's performance data, and making a plan on how can we improve our plan for the 26-27 year. And then I got to attend the special ed law conference just this last week with Deland Sinkson, who was our district. And that's very interesting to me. So I'm not going to go over all the topics here, but there was a lot of learning. And I didn't realize that lawyers have as big a sense of humor as they have, but all have a big sense of humor. But a lot of learning in special ed law, and I appreciated the chance to to get to go. We got some good resources, so if we forget something, we can go back to those and do some, but overall, it was a good experience. Yeah.
Put a picture of our capital trip with fifth graders down there. Was a good. Good word. Very well behaved and get heard a lot of positive comments. Had a good day, was a wonderful day. It was just a really cool day. I never in my wildest dreams expected that to go nationally. Yeah, that was pretty cool. It was paper flower, so. Just a little blurb on Halloween. We let the kids dress up this year. First time they've done that in a few years, that I know of. But again, fun day for the kids. Little blurb about the musical. Our fourth and fifth graders had the opportunity to be Munchkins, so actually came over to the elementary for the high school came over to the elementary for a little while to just share a few scenes, but our Munchkins got to get in front of their own peers to perform, but again, they did a great job. Our conference numbers were at 98%. We also had a Veterans Day assembly, just pretty short for the elementary, but pretty meaningful, so very proud to present that, and our students did a great job of saying from Star Spangled Banner. Thing I didn't put in there, I know last week Matt and I were able to go down to Cincy College, some mock interviews. So it's a good time to not only give back to the profession, but also get Kids Marsh's name out there. Let people know where we're at, what we have openings for, or just a lot of students just where to find those openings. So again, learning experience for them. And professional development, we continue with priority standards and assessments. We've been trying to use that data more supposed to see.
On that note about the Citizen College thing, did you guys get the email about the UNI one?
We did.
Okay.
I don't think we've signed up yet, but we've talked about it, so we'd like to.
Yeah, that sounds good. That'd be good.
But it's more of a fair, right?
It's more of a teacher.
Yeah, we probably need to, I know we've talked about trying to get a brochure together of some sort, we know. The S committee has a good start with some of those brochures,
Blair.
I know yeah, so I mean, you know, it'd be nice to get something put together just to celebrate our successes.
Yeah, because when I went to one last year, I was like the only person that didn't hardly have much on my table. I felt a little out of place. I'm like, I had the East Marshall table covered, but that's about it. Other people had all kinds of candy.
I was gonna say, give them candy. Yeah, get a little flag.
Well,
Pens
as
or
we got down-
cups or.
we got down to Samson, I said, you know, I've got a bunch of pens in one of my cabinets. Been there when I got there, you know, could have brought some of those.
And it'd be good to take some of our posters too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because some people have big posters.
Even the bond referendum, they have those new building posters that we reuse that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And actually save on printing costs, instead do like some type of a virtual web page that has information, and then use a QR code and then have to take a picture of it. And then you can even have it where they get a little form to fill out where they give you their name and email address. And then that way you can follow up with them and send them job postings and all of that good stuff.
I'd be willing to.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome.
But yeah, it will save money than printing costs, because printing costs are stupid ridiculous.
It's
So,
like an electronic brochure type
Mhm.
of thing. You know,
Yeah.
that too.
yeah.
Thank you, that'd be awesome.
Oh, I have. All right, yes, thank you.
So we'll go to food service reports.
I don't have anything to add unless you guys have any questions.
I thought her report was awesome.
Mhm. It's great information.
Yeah, I love the participation. So I thought-
Yeah.
Yep. Excellent.
And I do love the idea of
Garden.
the garden. I absolutely love that.
Great.
That's cool. We will go to Paul.
Same thing, I don't have much to add unless you have questions.
I do have something for Cole. A couple days ago, we were in the high school and Kurt and I were talking, and I asked if Cole could put together a multi-step form for our transportation approvals. And that was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and by 3 o'clock, he had this multi-step form that he was testing out with Kurt and Mr. Rasmussen and I, and it works slicker than snot. And so right now, the way we do transportation requests is somebody fills out a form.
It's kind of like
and they
your
scan-
your
and they-
poster.
and they scan That, they scan it to whoever, and then they scan it to me, and we scan it to Kurt. And it's the most inefficient system in the world, but Cole, in a matter of about 4 hours, fixed that. And I think, are we ready to roll that out at some point?
Yeah, whenever you wanna do it. I mean, the next time someone wants to request transportation, tell them, don't use the form, you got something better.
We got something better.
Yeah.
And it'll help us like on the back end with like record keeping for mileage and for, is it a special ed cost? Is it an admin cost? Is it activities? So it's outstanding. So good job with that.
And we don't have to wait for it to come down in the backpack on the bus.
Yep.
Can I make a suggestion for another form? Your request for gym space form,
Oh, yeah.
if we could do something like that, it would be,
Form King.
I did see a form like that, but when it started talking about liability insurance and stuff like that, then you had to sign it.
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing that I was like, if you want someone to physically sign it and to say, well, we're not liable if something happens, that's why I was like, I don't know if we can make that digital.
Yeah.
And
Must be like a DocuSign.
yeah, like a DocuSigner
yeah, I see you make it like a DocuSign,
or an Adobe.
but then we have to pay for Adobe.
Yeah, yeah,
Always sends you back to money, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
It does.
Okay.
So, yeah, I did think about that, but then when I started seeing about, talking about liability and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and where you want a physical signature. Well, with the bus transportation request,
Yeah.
no one cares about signature.
Right.
You just need proof.
Yeah.
But with that kind of stuff, that's why I was like, I don't know. If we could do that and
Liability
get
perspective.
by,
Yeah.
Or if it-
especially if something happens. And now we're getting lawyers involved and stuff like that. So,
Or if the initial step is you fill it out online, and then the second step is, here's your confirmation of it, now you have to sign your confirmation and provide it back.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, yeah,
Just the,
yep, absolutely.
Next is the transportation report. I know Kurt's not here, so did anybody?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
has he gotten any more bus drivers onboarded?
Just the van driver that we recruited tonight, you know, I talked about it the other day, I forgot what he said. I think he thought he might have some subs now that harvest is done, that he could rely on, which would be great, but nothing permanent, so, yeah.
Awesome.
Alrighty. We're gonna move into discussion items.
Yes, okay, so, Ms. Crandon and I talked, this week, early this week, late last week, whatever
It's a
it was.
Friday, I think it was Friday.
Okay, well, I will steal you, but why don't you go ahead?
Well, no, I brought up to Kevin that, like, I am glad to serve again. I don't know if I will be able to serve 4 years, just with job changes and that kind of stuff. But I said I can definitely commit for 2 years. But it also is like a growing concern of how do we get more people involved with wanting to be on the board. And so I brought up the idea of like working towards a succession plan for board seats to try to make sure we can identify people in the community who not only are interested potentially in running, but also that could maybe get educated a little bit through school committees and that type of stuff. So the next time a board seat comes open, we aren't running into this situation of who's gonna serve it. Because I will say it was very unnerving, like to sit there and go, okay, nobody's gonna serve, nobody's gonna serve, nobody is gonna step up. And like I reached out to a couple of people and it just was not the right time in their lives with having young kids and that type of stuff, which I totally get. But at the same time, I know just from my perspective, like, I'm tired. I'm tired. It's not that I'm tired of serving. I do enjoy it. But just like the mental toll and then just trying to balance everything else in life. It definitely has taken a toll, and I did have to ask for permission from both my father and my husband to serve again. And they both, like, my dad gave me crap, but Matt was like, yes, but also I don't want this to happen again. And I said, I don't either. And I know at some point I can't be a lifer. And likewise, I don't think any of you want to be in that position either. And so I just really would like us to maybe do some strategic planning over the next couple of months to identify some people in the community who would be potential people to serve, and then let's figure out how we get them involved. I mean, that's how I got involved in the very beginning. Was I was asked by Dr. Meyer to serve on the SIAC committee. Got involved with that a little bit as Austin got into school, and then they were talking about some bond type related stuff at that time, and got involved with that. And saying I know I was on the school board. So anyway, that's just kind of what I wanted to bring up, because I know just like with starting a new job and everything, there's a couple of opportunities that if I want to move up in the organization, they would require a lot of travel in the future, and I would not be able to balance that and do that so.
We want to discuss some names from that particular director district that you might want to start reaching out to. I just worry that if we don't start and it's, you know, even with like when you said the science, but you have
Yeah.
one coming up, would that be a good chance to find
Absolutely,
somebody?
absolutely.
I think we'd have to look at my district too,
And-
because
and mine
nobody
as
ran,
well.
nobody
Yeah.
ran, and so I ran
Exactly.
again at the
Yeah.
last minute.
Okay,
And so it's a similar situation,
Yeah,
so.
Penny in detail.
And I had talked to several people. I wasn't going to go for another term, and the two people I had talked to both turned me down. And so
Yeah.
that's why I said earlier, when there was a reason why I did it again, and this is, and so, but we do need, there'll be 3 districts then that will not have someone in 2 years.
yeah. Well, I think we should just focus on director one right now, but maybe you
I
might have a change of heart and want to run.
No, one left the district and the other one, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
You never know.
That's enough.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thoughts or ideas from,
So I know from my own area, Blair would be one, Blair only. And then, but she just got elected to city council
yes.
because LaGrant City Council had no one. They had one person run. That
What
was
about
it.
Luke Wilson?
Luke Wilson's another one, and he's the one I had reached out to before, and it just planning wise wasn't the right time in his life,
Okay,
so. And I'm not sure where the Sawyers fall, if they fall in your district,
Yeah, they might be in my district.
but for your seat someday,
Yeah.
if you don't wanna be a lifer, I think the Sawyer,
Yeah.
either one of them would be fantastic.
Luann Coolin said something to me about.
Yes.
Supports go.
I was gonna say, she's the one who got elected to the city council here in the grant. This time, and I think Blair got elected too. So. I'll have to do the rest of the seats. What about yours?
I don't have any names. I tried to reach out, but I didn't. I got those.
I'm trying to think of like your area.
Yeah.
Who lives there?
Tried Laura Barrington. Yeah. let's-
Yeah.
Down the road.
The other thing, just to throw this out there, since we're just discussion items, is you did redistrict in 2023, we could definitely look at some at-large
Yeah.
positions and at-large seats.
Yeah.
It wouldn't cost us anything to do that, I don't believe. I think we just have to have like a population kind of study kind of
Yeah.
thing done, and then that would be another option, so we could have like maybe 3 districted board seats, but then 2 that were at large.
I think that would be a really good option. Because I think, yeah, sometimes you get a concentration of people in a certain area, and it's because of commonalities, common interests, it's just kind of where people end up going. I feel like it shifts every, decade. For a while it was the Grand, then it's turned to be more of the Laurel Gilman area recently, and what time it was Ferguson, so.
When we redistricted a little while ago, the Laurel district went into Gilman. That's how
Yeah.
Holly and I got on this, because we were together, we both couldn't run.
Yeah.
So that district got bigger, so to speak,
Kinda Based on population.
but we had less people, but we got
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah.
And hopefully that grows.
Let's hope.
But yeah, I think that's something that we want to kind of keep on the presses with, of thinking about succession planning for our seats in the future if we don't need to rerun, and even then, you never know when life is gonna throw you a curveball, but 4 years is a long time to commit, so. So that's the other thing, is like, I just don't want us to run into a position where it's difficult for us to find people to run.
And sometimes when you find somebody who's interested, like myself, it took me 2 years to decide that I wanted to do it.
Mhm.
So it takes a little while for someone who really wants to, but to commit.
Yeah, it's almost like a job shadow, like they have to attend support to get involved, and some different ways to understand what the commitment is and what's involved, because it is a lot, and it can be a lot, and we want people that are willing and able and get informed in a way that supports the district overall. So. But
It has, I think, too, not this is a prereq, but it has some flexibility within their job.
Yeah.
So they can do things like ISB, legislative things, whatever that they really wanna,
exactly.
yeah. go all out.
Exactly, yeah. And sometimes that's daytime meetings or
Yep.
daytime activities and stuff.
Yep.
And I think the move to West census.
Oh.
We talked about that at the motion.
Oh, okay.
They've been trying to,
Yeah.
contemplating moving to Wednesday nights too, just because. You've got a bunch of parents that
Yeah.
want to go to their.
Yes.
events,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I would not have come back if we would have stayed on Monday nights.
Monday,
I
yeah.
absolutely would not have. So that was a big deal breaker for me last year. So,
Just don't let me forget this conversation, so you can kind of.
oh, no. I think it's one of those things, like, maybe just even when we have your quarterly conversations, we can
Right.
maybe insert a little bit of a conversation that we can continue to
Sure.
talk about this, and maybe it's also like reaching out to parents, talking to staff and teachers, who are the involved parents? That's one thing, as I've gotten older, I don't really know all the younger parents anymore. I go to events and I'm like, I don't know who these people are. And so I think we do rely on our staff of kind of knowing who those involved families are, and reaching out and providing that environment for people to get involved as well. So that's why I'm glad to see some of the efforts at the elementary to get parents involved in that way again as well.
All right. Next is considering the 2025-26 academic year calendar modification.
Thanks, Cole. Yep, so Wednesday, I believe it's May 6th is our typical 2-hour early out for professional development. The request would be that we would change that day from 6th to 7th, knowing that we're hosting the NICL conference track meet. And probably 70 to 80% of our workers are going to be staff. So we thought if we could make that change from Wednesday to Thursday, that would definitely help us in running that meet. It's 15 schools, over 300 kids will be there, so it'll be a big deal.
absolutely. I worked at the last time. I don't
It takes a lot of people.
know if I've ever seen it, that many people in town. So.
Yep.
I can make a motion to change the early out day from the sixth to the seventh of May. Oh, okay, we don't have to know.
Yep.
We will, we will.
Geo bond issuance discussion.
Oh, yes. So, this was a conversation that Allison and I had last week with Matt Gillespie. I gave you kind of a big, spiel in my update with, Friday about this. Essentially, we have some options here as far as how we want to issue those bonds. We can definitely, we don't have to make a decision tonight. It's not an action item. I just wanted to throw this out to folks so they had this on their radar. So a couple of options would be, we have to get a build schedule done from the architects, and we can do that most likely without having that CMAR on board. So Tyler, our architect from FEH, kind of knows what Matt's wanting. So we're talking about the build schedule. It's, what projects are we gonna put the most money into first at the initial phase of that bonding capacity? If we don't need a lot, like let's say it's gonna be, we're gonna phase out the construction. Maybe the board is more willing to look at maybe a 385 increase in the levy rate rather than the full 405. So looking at the bond schedule, and Matt hasn't gotten back to me on this, he was gonna schedule one out so you could kind of see after 24 months what a 385 would get us, after 24 months what a 405 would get us. And would that be sufficient to cover the costs of those initial projects, and then kind of siphon the levy rates in the later stages so that we wouldn't need as much. And so we'd have more flexibility in that way in case we needed to maybe increase our management levy 1 year to help pay for some, insurance costs or equipment breakdown, retirement assistance things. We could do that. We could have that additional room between 385 and 405 to maybe do that management increase if we needed to, or instructional support, or cash reserve levy. We probably wouldn't need that, but those are some options that give you some wiggle room between that 385 and 405. So I think that's the important thing for us to kind of start thinking about once we get the draw schedule from FEH. So there's that piece of it. The other concerning piece, which is probably the bigger part of the discussion tonight, is the good news is that we could probably bond for more save dollars than what we originally thought to cover the Gilman options and the 1923 building, which was great news after talking to Matt. The downside of all of this is that because there is a budget shortfall in the state, there are some people who may live in the governor's office that have floated the idea that schools may not get their full allocation of save dollars in the future. Maybe 30%, maybe 50%, which would put a lot of districts currently in peril who have SAVE resolutions, who are doing big building projects and relied on SAVE. They'd have to draw those dollars back to the state. And then because those are bonded dollars, you'd actually have to increase your property tax levy to cover those bonds. So either way, the property taxpayers are going to feel the burden of this if this would happen to pass this legislative session, where the state would recoup those sales tax dollars from SAVE. So, in Matt's opinion, he felt like the sooner we could do a SAVE resolution, get that 14-day challenge / waiting period out of the way, we wouldn't have to issue those SAVE bonds, but at least we could possibly be grandfathered in if by chance the legislative session were to do that. So they might consider saying, well, if you've got outstanding bonds against SAVE, then we're not going to force you to jack your residents' property taxes up to cover the cost of those bonds. Instead, we'll let you have those. and then we'll take everybody else's save to help make up for the budget shortfall in the state. So good news is in terms of the save amount, not so good news in terms of what could be coming in this year's legislative session. So there's that. What are your thoughts on this?
The idea of increasing property, the burden on property tax, or, on, property owners is concerning. If we don't address this and try to move forward quickly, I think that wouldn't be looked upon favorably.
No.
So I think that we are in a position where we have to do this to be able to do what we said we were going to do with the plan that we made for the 1923 building for Gilman, and to be able to complete this in a timely manner. So, yeah,
I would agree with that.
I think public perception is gonna be very difficult if we don't. But backside is
so.
if we don't get that grandfather, then where do we go?
Right, right.
So I mean, it's a tiptoed line. But I think one of the selling points was what's gonna happen in Gilman.
Yes, yep,
Yeah.
And if we don't do what we said we were gonna do up until the vote.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's gonna look very unfavorable on all of us sitting here.
yep. And it doesn't make a difference to the voters that the people in Des Moines did this.
Exactly.
It doesn't make.
They don't see it that way.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. So if there was anything that we could do, it would be to start to contact our reps and senators to say, hey, we've heard that this could be something that's being bandied about, and it would absolutely kill not only people that currently have safe resolutions, but people who are planning on those dollars for future improvements.
I know in the past, we've done kind of a legislative type thing in December. I don't know that we need to serve dinner or anything like that, but just maybe we plan to invite the local legislators to our December meeting and we could have a discussion about this.
Okay. Okay.
They seem like they've been open to listening when we've brought things up like this before. I mean, I do think that would be a good thing, or if it doesn't work for them to come to that meeting, maybe we plan something where we can visit with them at some point. I know usually in January they do, Marshalltown usually hosts like a Saturday morning legislators, yeah, at the library. And so maybe it's just coordinating with them and,
Okay.
you know, seeing if a couple of us can be there for that as well. So, but I just think that I don't necessarily like the way it's been handled, but I appreciate the fact to have the open line of communication to them. From that perspective.
Okay. Okay.
And I think the other schools liked it too, but I also think if we put things it rotates.
Yeah.
Like, we don't. have
Oh,
to post
absolutely.
it
Yeah.
or anything, so.
Yeah.
And again, like, if we go to the library, that solves the problem, but I.
Yeah.
So Tammy, you host this year,
Yeah.
Karen, you host this year, you know, and we just kind of rotate around, because we know who attends.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I went one year to the library and Sue Cahill was there and it was
Yeah.
really, really great.
Yeah, I went one year too when Sue was in her seat and it was a great conversation, a great opportunity to connect with them. We had a good discussion about some important things. So that was when the conversations were going on about the open get the voucher dollars, yes.
I think it's a great idea to invite them to a board meeting.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
Okay. Okay. So,
I don't think much good is. I mean,
oh, yeah,
this wasn't specific. discussed.
Right.
But it's,
It's a non-election. Yeah.
she's not going to the election, so.
Yep. Yep, it would take a while to undo.
Yeah.
I would say that, so am I hearing that maybe we should look at that same resolution in December?
Yes.
With that, so we have to hold the hearing then in January, would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
The next one on the discussion items is the CMAR selection process.
Yes, let's see here. So, that one's a little bit easier. We did get the CMAR intent to publish on, November tenth. The problem was it didn't go to the, like, architect CM board, like a board hostings at that point. So we had to kick that back to the 17th. But I think the timeline is on there as well. So there are some things here, so the RFQ, basically Tyler's taking care of that submitted. So we'll get those distributed on December 2nd. Those, and it's just the qualifications from these firms, and those will be due on December 15th, it looks like. Then we will have to review those RFQs as a board. We can do a work session there between the 16th and the 19th that we would review those qualifications. At that point, we would put together a rubric for what we wanted in a construction management firm. We'd have to score that rubric, and if the firms that we did not select wanted to see that rubric, we have to make that public to them, and how we scored that. That's extremely subjective, okay? So it doesn't have to be anything that, you know, it doesn't have to be research based or anything like that. We can just kind of do it as we see fit. And that would mean that we distribute those RFPs to people that we wanted, and those would be due about January 6th-ish. And then we would interview those firms that we selected on January 12th. That would just be a special work session that we would post. That we would let the firm that we selected know on January 13th. The RFP, then we can interview 10 firms, we can interview 1. It really is up to us. Probably the best practice is 2 to 3, just to kind of see what those CMARs offer, basically. Do those dates look okay? Do you want to check our calendars, especially for that one between December 16th and 19th?
16.
We have a meeting on the 17th typically, unless we're changing the December date.
Yeah, we would have it.
June. Yeah, we would.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I do.
Isn't it the 17th?
What? I think it's the 17th.
Yeah, it's the 17th.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Seemed to be
Oh,
fun,
yeah.
kind of busy.
I,
So do you think it would fit in by then, like on the 17th, or?
We could do, well, okay, 16th to the 19th, we're just reviewing the RFQ, so we could
Okay.
do a work session possibly before the board meeting.
Okay,
On the 17th, would that?
Early.
Yeah, we could do that maybe at 5,
Oh, sure.
that'd be okay?
I'll try.
Or would 5:30 be better for you, Andy?
That might work.
Okay, 5:30 okay with everybody?
Yeah.
It shouldn't take us, I don't think it should take us an hour to do that.
Okay.
that is correct.
5.
Yeah, especially if we get the stuff ahead of time and can review it. We'll
Okay.
just kind of dialogue, discussion, questions.
Yeah, so those would be due on the 15th, so that's the Monday, so the earliest I can get those to you would probably be Monday/Tuesday morning, would that be
That's fine.
okay? Okay,
send out a text message and remind me to look.
Yeah, if you could text me to remind you,
Okay, I'll do my
that'd
best.
be great. No, I'm just kidding. I will try.
Well, close it for interviews.
The interviews would be January 12th.
Here it is.
That is a Monday.
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 Yeah,
Okay.
and what time are you thinking, like, start it?
They, let's see. We can say that everybody, if we do 3 firms, we could say that you have 20 to 30 minutes to present.
Okay,
And then 10 minutes maybe in between for discussion. So you're looking at probably 2 hours and 15 minutes. So if we did January 12th, like. Would 6 o'clock work, or do you want us to put the 5:30 time? Either one, let's go 6 then, that's okay?
Yeah, if we could keep meetings around 6, that helps me with my work schedule a little bit more.
Okay.
Having to go into work at 10 o'clock at night, so,
Yes.
6 o'clock is awesome for me,
Okay,
if possible. I know you've got stuff going as well, so beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, it's hard for me to get here by 5:30, but I can,
Is that just Wednesday? Or is that?
The only Wednesday that I have problem is the second Wednesday.
We had 2 Andys here now
One of us
last week.
have to change our name.
I know.
You-
Andy,
Oh, yeah.
Andrea.
Good enough.
we can say Andrew.
Well, hey, that's,
There we go.
That'll work.
Okay.
yeah.
Either way, as
Okay.
long as it's not late for dinner, I'm good.
And then would the choosing of them be on the 13th or the 14th?
We would do that the 12th. We would, I'm sorry,
Oh.
we're notifying the firm that we're choosing on the 13th.
Okay.
Yes,
Sure.
yep. So we'll walk out of here on the 12th.
And
with
know
the
what we're
decision.
doing.
Yep, absolutely.
Sounds good.
Yep. And it'll be pretty clear to me, I think, to most of us. I think we'll come to a pretty quick consensus on it.
Right. Anything else on that? All right, now we go to action items. So we've got policy updates.
Yes. Okay, so, yeah, my apologies for that, those things, so, thank you for texting me today. So the first one is that regulation about standing committees that I talked about again. I knew those, that I tore out. So basically, you kind of see what the language there is, and well, as long as we're stating what those standing committees are, I think we kind of talked in the discussion section about, okay, I'd like to have 2 on each one of those. That would be great. So does anybody have a burning need to be on finance?
well, I'll volunteer, but that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Here.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
I can't hear any.
Oh,
Sorry, I
go
got
ahead.
the second person on finance.
So
Bloom
Andy Bloom.
and Mealy.
Okay.
Facilities,
I would be more than happy to be on that one.
thank you, Andrew.
I would like to be on that one.
And Andrew.
Andrea. We're gonna have to split this into
We're
the
so
table up.
original.
Yeah,
Student achievement curriculum,
I would be willing to do that.
awesome.
Is that,
Liz,
Elizabeth,
I'm either old or you guys talking about.
I'd like to be on the student achievement one as well.
awesome, thank you, Andy. Okay,
so
how
it's,
about negotiations?
I'll do negotiations.
Liz, anybody else for negotiations? Don't all jump at once.
Spouse. Should
Oh, there you go.
Right.
Two. Are you guys?
Not yet.
You're trying to get off.
I can do E. I don't care. That's fine. I just finally figured out what was happening, so.
So Andrew, did you say community engagement?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
I should probably write this down.
Okay.
Okay, then I'll.
I'm just putting names down because I still can't hear.
So I've got finance, we've got Andy Bloom, Lisa Mealing. We've got facilities, Andrew and Andrea. And student achievement, we've got Liz and Andy. And negotiations, we have Liz and Lisa Mealing. And we have community engagement, we have Andrea Tronis, and
I can go ahead and be on that as well.
awesome, thank you, Andrew.
Yep.
And it's only 2 additional meetings per month per subcommittee, so we're really great.
You mean per year, right?
I don't. It'll kind of be as needed, like, so when we wrap up with negotiations, we'll probably have some more meetings and some things like that, and, you know, facilities, Andrew and Andrea, I mean, I will say that's gonna be probably, you know, a little bit heavier as we get going.
Okay.
With me having days off and I've got a little bit of background, it's where I started off
Yes.
coming out of college, so. I was at a marketing firm for a national construction company. So I have some ties and some connections that can assist, I think, hopefully with questions if we have them for that, so. Very comfortable doing that.
Thank you all for doing that, I really appreciate this. Okay, so that would be the sanitary policy, okay, we have a reversal, we thought it was odd. Last month when that 708 policy, that care maintenance disposal of school district records, IASB had that rescinded. That was a mistake from IASB.
Okay.
So we just simply have to add that back in, that language back, that policy. And then that last one there about substitute, that's a regulation. We could either keep that and list the substitute pay accurately at $135 per day, or we can just rescind that policy. Most places don't have a policy or regulation where they list their pay. Otherwise, that means we have to go back and change that all the time. So my recommendation would be just that we rescind that policy.
All right. So, any questions? Otherwise, motion to approve the November policy updates.
I'd make a motion to approve the policy updates as presented with rescinding for 10.01R. And can we waive the second reading?
Yep.
Andrew can second that.
Second,
Awesome.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the next one is the approving of Central Rivers AEA Board of Directors ballot.
Yeah, so Dr. Mary Stevens is the only person running from our area to be on the AEA board. So we would just have to make a motion to approve that she's our candidate for the AEA board.
I'll make a motion to approve Dr. Mary Stevens for the Central Rivers AA Board of Directors ballot.
I can second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the next thing is to approve the fiscal year 24 audit results.
Yeah, so Allison, can you help me out with this one just a little bit? The reason that we're approving the FY24 one is because
Nolte's really behind.
they're that far behind.
Yes.
Okay,
I haven't seen it.
It's been done. I mean, the actual audit itself, and then that's been done for a while, but it takes them a while to get us the actual report. And I think could have done it last month, but kind of forgot. I just gotten the actual final draft shortly before the meeting and I didn't think about getting it in the packet, but.
Okay.
And FY 25 at this point is scheduled for January. So they're still about. I don't know, 4 or 5 months behind. They
Yeah.
should be doing it like September.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
So again, the audit results didn't present anything that we didn't know. Every year, there's always a concern just because of our size and how many people we have, doing certain things about the segregation of duties. We're doing the best, with that, with the people that we have. So that was, but there's no, obviously, there's no, suspicions or circumstances of fraud or mishandling of money or mismanagement or anything like that. Procedurally, we're doing everything the way we're supposed to be doing, according to the auditors, so, that was a clean bill of health and safety. Obviously, I mean, there's information there about declining enrollment, declining UAB, and expenditures exceeding, revenues, expenditures exceeding revenues at this point, which were from the CAR results of 2025. So the auditors caught this in 2024 as well.
How long do you typically pay that other post-employment benefit? It said there were like 93 people. How long is that early retirement plus something else? Because it said we only had a few early retirement. If 3 retirees in 2024, is that just like the cumulative?
as far
Number?
as you know, those are the staff members that had taken the early retirement. And then the year they're paid out
Through
their monthly stipend plus benefits until they're 65.
65,
And those we're down to just a couple now.
okay.
And that would be all management fund.
Yes.
So that would not be general fund, but it's still a drain on the management fund too, for sure.
Mhm.
I shouldn't say drain, it's just. Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's-
and I did ask Allison, it said there's a save bond of 2,885,000 that was issued in 2016, and it will be repaid by 2030, but I think it's actually completely paid in full,
It should have been
Right.
paid in 2025, right?
right?
Okay.
Okay, okay, so it's
Yeah.
just that this was
It's just, this
2020.
is, yeah,
Okay.
2024.
yeah.
Okay.
This really would have been school year of 24, 25 or 23, 24.
Ending June
Okay.
24th.
Yep.
The audit.
Okay, okay. I know, I thought, we don't have that, why is that?
So
Okay.
we're like over 18 months.
Okay.
basically.
Yeah, there's an energy loan from 2012. It says it'll be repaid by 2028. I read through the whole thing.
Good work.
I was like, what?
67 pages.
The
Yes,
energy loan would also be a management.
okay,
fund.
okay,
Okay.
all right.
Was an energy loan for 2012?
Yes, that's what I thought. This doesn't seem like we've ever talked about this.
That was the one bank, that you were talking to me about, right, Allison? That would
I-
make that monthly deposit to that one.
Yeah, it comes from Citizens, the check, and then we take it to the First Interstate Bank. It's $1,600 a month.
Okay, okay.
As far as the details behind it, I honestly don't know, but
Yeah.
I know it's almost.
Yeah, almost done. I don't know, they just kind of seemed to make a comment about that we entered into this lease agreement for copiers that sort of made it sound like, why'd you do that?
Right, right.
So, I don't know,
And that's a 5-year lease, I believe,
think it
right?
was,
So,
through 2029.
2029. It would be something that when we go back to bid for that again, that we may not do things like having 2 full-size copiers in each building
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So
because-
we'll be able to reduce some costs there for sure.
Yeah.
And we may be in a better position to also negotiate overages on
Okay.
those leases too,
Okay,
which sometimes eats us up as well. So if we go over our limits or go over color or whatever it is, like we pay extra for that too.
I mean, we're talking through 2029, yet we've said we're gonna close Gilman and they have copiers, and can we like
Yes.
terminate that
Yeah.
part of the lease?
Yeah,
Or,
we need to find that
Yeah.
agreement for sure.
yeah, okay. Okay, that's all, I didn't. What's this? I was just trying to understand it all, actually.
Yeah. Can
Okay,
I get a motion to approve the fiscal year 24 audit results?
I can make a motion to approve the results as presented.
I can second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're gonna move to approval of snow removal bids.
Have one,
So
You only have one?
What's that?
Yeah.
See?
yeah,
Okay.
unless you're gonna do it.
In your.
My shovel, yeah.
Okay, just.
Yes, we did receive one bid from Fencing Solutions. Again, it actually came in lower than what we paid last year, so, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I got a motion to approve the snow removal bid.
I can second that.
Paper.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're gonna move on to the contract with Iowa Valley for CCTC.
Yeah, this is the shared college career transition counselor position that Terry Hungerford currently occupies. It's a shared position between Iowa Valley, Grinnell, and East Marshall. We do get 2 operational sharing points for that, which would be about $16,000. But it's one of those positions that, I mean, it's just absolutely so beneficial for our kids in terms of ensuring what they're taking is gonna prepare them for the next step. And then when they matriculate on to MCC, she checks it with them, make sure that they're
She does a great job.
taking the classes that they need to take. Any other issues, I mean, she helps it with absolutely everything, and is a huge help to Miss Hammond here at the high school, so it's a good thing for us.
Yes, so,
I will make a motion to approve the contract with Iowa Valley for the CCTC.
Second.
all right, that's okay, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so now we are approving the change that you talked about earlier, right, for the dress 26. So it's just essentially removing the early out on May 7th.
Six,
6th.
Yeah.
And to
moving into the 7th, yeah.
avoid the NACL truck date. So can I get a motion to approve that calendar modification?
I will make a motion to approve that calendar modification.
I will second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are moving on to approve the state of the district presentation.
Actually. This might be why.
This is gonna take 160 slides.
That's better than my 23 pages.
Yes.
So, okay.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
move on to, we'll come back. We're gonna approve the district at risk plan. 26.7. I just looked about this, it's been words to do.
Yep.
Okay, Kevin had asked me to, put together this, at-risk dropout prevention plan. He provided me with the basics of, plan to put together Sumner Fred. So, I'm very grateful for these, school principals and school counselors for their input. So this definitely was a group project. I'm not gonna go through all 23 pages. I'm just gonna give some very brief things. The first several pages are just copy and pasted from our website. Then the administrative code is what it is. I couldn't do any inputs or variables to that. Again, I'm going through this very quickly. So you get to page 4, and it just kind of shows or puts in writing what our program need is. And it's just the reason why we have the program. Then the next page talks about our goals. And obviously that is to try to increase student attendance, students' values in education, and to be able to have them progress through each grade level and successfully graduate from high school. We want to be able to work on decreasing truancy, absenteeism, tardiness, to try to get kids more involved in extracurriculars, to prevent dropouts and to give them access to community-based support services, for the students and their families. Again, you guys have this all here, I guess, getting to page 6, one of the things that I do, and get it ready for the state report is in October, prior to October, I work with all the different buildings, the principals, the school counselors, to be able to, look at data-driven identities to try to identify our at-risk students. And so we look at absenteeism from the previous year. We look at no involvement in extracurricular activities, for grades, low, 2 years below in math and or reading. In elementary PK through 3, they don't have standardized testing data. So we're able to just look at the situations that the students are in and identify them as at risk without having a lot of the data-driven things such as how they tested on ISASS scores and that type of things. So I rely heavily on school counselors, principal, as well as school nurse, to be able to help identify those students as well. So basically what we have done is we have broken the next pages down to the at-risk indicators. Based on buildings, they look a little bit differently, as I described with the elementary, as far as not having standardized testing. And also we do not have grades, so we have to look at them just more locally, as is their engagement, their behaviors, that type of thing, as well as the attendance. Then when you get to the middle school, we have an opportunity to look more at engagement, look at band, look at choir, we look at sports, we look at student council, the things that they can elect to participate in. We do have an opportunity to look at classroom performance as far as MTSS and the interventions that we use there, standardized testing. One of the things that we also look at that I should have mentioned is environmental factors as far as homelessness, socioeconomic status. So if it's we look at especially, for example, when we had the derechos, the tornadoes, we had so many people displaced and our at-risk list was very large at that point, because of the environmental factors that were out of their control. So we have to look at a really big picture of how we do that. One of the things that Kevin wanted me to look at was, including the socioeconomic status because of the situation that our world is in right now. We do look at it, but to look at it as far as using it as one of the identifiers for our apps. Our numbers have gone up considerably this year based on last year's data, which would coincide with right now. So I go ahead, we turn this into the state. We do get funding back because of some of these students that we identify. I'll let Kevin speak to that because it's way beyond my knowledge base. But basically what we do is we try to identify these students and put them into programs. For example, high school kids that are credit deficient, we have summer school, we have credit recovery programs. For our elementary students who might have literacy things, then we have a literacy program in the summer to try to target those discrepancies. So we have a lot of programming that we have in place to try to help those at-risk students get through high school.
Judy, what does, it says, one of the environmental factors is attending for less than one FAY?
I had to ask that question myself. That was a Mr. Seeley thing.
Full
Full academic year.
See, I was trying to make up something like
I
that.
know, I had to ask too when I presented principals because I'm like, I don't even know what this. But yes, for full academic year. So that's 23 pages in a very short amount of time. We have title, we have literacy, Kevin just went over that, got that up there. We do have TSS, we have small group study hall at the high school that is targeted for students who are struggling in the classroom. So we do have a lot of programming. One thing that's really nice about this is that we do all of these things But now we have it in writing to show that these are the processes and that we have already put in place. So we just have it formalized. And then the funding aspect of it, like I said, Kevin can speak to that part, because we do receive funding based on, the quantity of students that we have identified with the hours.
So the funding that we receive for MA, MAGDOP, or Modified Supplemental Assistance, MSA DOP, is actually, it's all property tax money. Okay, so we can levy for the max, but we have to spend the max. We actually have to spend the max the year before, and if we don't spend the max from the year before, then they take it off our property tax levy. So that's one of the reasons why our levy rate went down. So when we look at the dollars that we have for dropout prevention for FY 26, we actually don't have any. So this would be for FY 27 that will start coding things back to counselors and some other salaries and benefits and things like that. And then show the need that we do have this need, and that would be levied back through our property taxes. I think sometimes we think that at-risk money is like free money from the state. It's not free money from the state. It's a 75-25 match, but anything that we're gonna levy for goes into that. So it's actually a burden, not a burden, but it's actually paid for out of local property taxes. But we can levy for it because we need it. It's a categorical, and if we don't pay it out of that, it's gonna come out of general fund.
Yeah.
So
you mentioned that we didn't have any expenses for this last year. That qualified.
no, we had expenses that
Oh.
qualified, but we didn't. Alice, what was it again? What was it that we didn't do?
Well, the coding carried over like it's been in the past, where like Trudy's salary.
Yeah.
A portion of counselors, but it
Yeah.
was still under, so then I increased it, so more of counselors is coded to.
Okay.
Handle it.
Okay.
So we didn't spend it all in FY 20. Or is it 3 or 4? Must have been 4.
I was gonna say
We
4.
didn't spend it all, so then whatever you don't spend, they take it off your next year.
Okay.
They're like basically saying, hey, you didn't use it last year, so
You
you
don't need
you lose it next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Is kind of what it was.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew that we had coded in the past the Trudy's position, and I remember when we went back and coded the salaries for some of the counselors.
Yep.
Because that we hadn't done that before.
And I found a table, if you will, 2019, 2020. That was the last time that I was able to be involved in kind of the allocations of things. So we looked at like summer school credit recovery, transportation, or the literacy programs. We looked at like portions of school nurses and portions of school counselors. Room 300, we used to have a student assistance center in the middle school, Station Foster, and that was all covered. So I provided that to Kevin to kind of give an idea of like
Yeah.
what we used to do
Yeah.
with it, to see if there's any way that we can, go back to funding some of those things again. So I got, but it was 19/20 was the last time that I was able to find any information that I personally had to see if we could, allocate some of that in other places as well.
This is good. This is great to have it all in one place, but I assume will get published on our website.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
This it seems like that would be the logical place for it to be documented. If someone had a question or something.
With HHS involvement, would you consider families that have foster? kids?
Yes.
Under the domains, there's a couple of sentences that are kind of like, I think this is. There's something about, says something like this
What
is
page you-
this.
yeah.
Page like 17-ish. I think
Okay.
it said. Like the second thing, but there wasn't any first, and I was like, what is this? I can't. Find it right offhand, but maybe just. Read through before you put it on the website.
Okay.
Read
So
through those.
it's page 17.
Well, somewhere in those domains where it
Okay.
says like family domain, all those kind of
Those were the,
like the resource kind of things, right?
okay,
The references,
we'll look through that.
just to, I don't know. Yeah, I think having it on the website is good, because I know as a parent looking for resources too, it would be good to know that this is something that you could, especially if family can refer.
Do you guys have any questions about any of that?
So we need to have an at-risk plan that we include from the board. December, we'll have to do probably a modified supplemental assistance request, SBRC request. And then January, we'll approve the funding for it for FY 27. That makes sense. So it's, yeah, kind of a process.
So we do need to approve the plan though. to get it
Yes.
tonight.
Yep.
Okay, I can make a motion to approve the district at-risk DOP plan for 26-27 school year.
Andy can second it.
All right, all in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Perfect. So you want to go backwards now?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go to the state of the district presentation.
So, the principals and I will kind of do this all together. If you want to switch your seats or if you want to follow along on there, it's totally up to you, however you want to do this. This is basically, one of the requirements that we have through our CASA plan, that consolidated application for school accountability. We have to present our district data in a public fashion at some point. Usually they do it at a board meeting. But this data set that I started to kind of work on before I got the job here, just kind of start looking at some of the academic data for East Marshall. So I always like to kind of start off with talking a little bit about how we see data. Because we're a small district, because we maybe only have one or two teachers at a grade level, sometimes we like to look at data as a hammer. And I don't think that's really quite the way to look at it. I really want to look at it more as a flashlight to start looking for trends and then asking those questions. Hey, how are you addressing these particular trends within the data? Both student achievement, student demographics, some things like that. We did add some enrollment data in there as well as some financial data because that all kind of ties together. But I thought it was just a kind of a good starting point at least for us to kind of take folks through this. So starting off with district enrollment, obviously we've seen those trends before. The difference there between resident enrollment and certified enrollment and total served. Total served would include those students that are open enrolled into us. We still count them as open as students that we serve, but obviously we don't receive any state funding from them. We receive tuition in payments from other school districts. We'll talk a little bit about that funding aspect a little bit later on here. Obviously, this was in our October board packet as far as the enrollment trends that we're seeing. So looking at at least our certified actual enrollment up there being down about 25 kids, but also the total enrolled served being down about 88 kids from FY 24 through FY 25. I'm sorry, 26 through 27, excuse me. So you can kind of see where those kids are leaving from or where we're getting kids. Obviously, those negative numbers in terms of open enroll out, that's good at those levels. So that -5, -2, -5, that's good. If it's a red number, obviously that's not so good. Okay. You can see preschool enrollment there. Supplementary weighting, this does not include special ed. This would be the supplementary weighting that we get from students taking college courses, right? So when you think about that, you can say that 7.45 is like 7 additional FTE, which is great. It's $56,000, but that wouldn't even cover a quarter of our expenses for MCC, right? So the supplementary weighting that we get from the state for those dual enrollment classes or courses that we allow kids to take does not cover what we actually pay to MCC. It's a nice gesture, but it doesn't cover it. So.
question
Yes.
for you on that.
Yeah.
So does MCC charge us a discounted rate for our students
No.
in comparison?
No, we do not get a discounted rate. We would possibly if, say, Mr. Thurm had his master's or his
Yeah.
doctorate and could teach the college level political science here.
Yeah.
And then they might give us a discount if you can do that for us under our salary. But otherwise, that, I'm not saying you have to do that, Mr. Thorne. I just
Yeah, no problem.
saw you in the front row, so I
Yeah.
thought, okay, okay. Okay.
And like for career academy programs that they've labeled as that, do they charge for that by the credit hour, do you know?
Yeah, it's 250 credit hour.
Career Academy is a little different.
Yeah,
Okay, I wondered if,
Because it's like, they get like 14 credits. a
Yeah.
Semester doing it,
Yeah.
so it's not quite the same credit hour, but it's a larger cost
uh-huh,
to be in the program than a regular class, but it's not per credit.
okay. I was gonna
But
say,
it's a rather.
yeah, because there's also additional supplemental funding that comes through the Career Academy state funding that should pay for part of it at least, but I was curious about that.
and that's all wrapped up in that supplementary
Yeah.
rating that
Yeah.
we get there too. Yep. Absolutely. Okay, so the enrollment there, you can kind of see our certified enrollment plus our IEP weighting. Sometimes I think it's really important to make sure that we start looking at staffing. Staffing per enrollment, we don't use certified, we actually use that certified plus the supplementary weighting. Because you could have that yellow bar for IEP weighting go out there to be like 116, 150, you know, and that actually, those students are much needier. So when students have, or when districts have a lot of staffing because they have a higher level of supplementary weighting, that's because they have students with more needs, right? Right now, I would not say that our special ed population is abnormally high. I mean, we're about 12.3%. Usually we want to keep it around 10. But I don't think 12.3 is that high for a district our size. So, again, you can kind of see the levels of, IEP kiddos there as well. So level 1, those would be the students with the least needs. Level 2 would have more intermediate needs. Level 3 would have obviously higher needs, typically requiring a one-on-one pair, which would then increase the cost. So when we start talking about, district cost per pupil, that would be 1.72. So you would take that $8,000 times 1.72, and that's the amount of funding you would get for a level 1 special education student. Same thing with level 2, you would take that, it would be 2.21 times 8,000 because they're a general ed student first. So we're gonna get that funding for them as a general ed student, then they get 10 times and times the additional 1.21. Same thing with level 2. Okay. Open enrolled in versus open enrolled out. So here's a little bit of the issue that we're having, obviously, with some of our finances too. So we have more kids that are going out. Yes, we still keep a few of those dollars, like the TSS funded dollars, save dollars and things like that. That's per enrollment. But we're also giving out the majority, which would be about 96% in tuition to those open enrolled out school districts. And then as you can see too, the open enrolled in has fallen, which obviously decreases our miscellaneous income. And I think one of the things as we talk about finances a little bit more down the line here, we've really relied on our open enrollment in under miscellaneous income. We've kind of depended upon that, right? It's kind of been one of those things like, we know we're gonna get 200 times $8,000, right? Well, that's not guaranteed much, right? Because those parents can just say, you know what, I'm gonna rescind my open enrollment, or I'm, you know, gonna do something else. And so that's like to keep that more as dollars that we just kind of keep and not have to rely on. And we're in a situation now where we probably do have to rely on, which is not a good place to be. Here's our open enrollment. The raw numbers are open enrollment out as a percent of our certified enrollments. Kind of this year, October 2025, we've got 99 kids out. That would be about 20% of our certified enrollment. So as that number grows, obviously it's that percent of our certified enrollment, which is again not a good trend to be in. Yeah.
Back up one step, just.
Yep.
Like they are.
Yep.
Remember, Lord, one of the things that changed after 2020 was virtual academies became much more likely for students to be a part of. And as you can see, our enrollment out has crept up. Take into account that we have a number of students that probably still live in our district, but are older rolling out through a virtual academy.
Do you know what that number would be, Matt?
I don't off the top of my head, but I can tell you that most of the open enrolled out students from the high school in the last 3 years are all going to virtual academies.
Yeah.
And I can probably figure out the high school the last number of years, but I don't know the total.
We had 2 in the last.
We had 2 in the last 2 months.
Which would be a direct result of COVID. You know, I hate to say it, but it is, yeah, for sure. So same thing here for open enrollment in, those raw numbers, and that would be the percent of our served enrollment. So 172 would be about 31% of our served enrollment in, or of our overall served enrollment, would be about 31% of enrollment in kids. And so here's where the dollars kind of come in. You can kind of see, we look at our open enrollment in revenues versus our open enrollment out expenses. And then those black bars there would be our net gain or net loss. So when you can rely on 1.2, $1.3 million every year of, I don't want to call it free money, but it's just, you know, it's guaranteed money. And then now we're kind of cutting that in half in the last 6 years. So we've gone from about 1.3 to $721,000 as far as that, open or that net, between open enrollment in and out. Okay, this kind of has to do with enrollment as well. This is the budget guarantee and new money, so you can kind of see the results of declining enrollment on SSA and low SSA for us. So you can see that we've been on the budget guarantee for 6 out of the last 8 years, which simply means that because of declining enrollment, because of low SSA, we can get 101% of the previous year's enrollment, which is great, or of our total district combined district cost from the previous year. The problem is, where does that 101% come from? Anybody know? Comes from property taxes, right? So we can go on the budget guarantee, which is great because we get some additional money, but that's just an increased burden on our local property taxpayers when we take the 101% budget guarantee every year. So again, you can see what that new money does. So in FY17, for example, we had negative $129,000 of new money. In FY25, we had negative $200,000 of money. And that's even with that $47,000 of budget guarantee that we took. So we were still in the hole that much of new money because of declining enrollment. And even in those years, we have declining enrollment, we have negative new money, we're still giving raises to staff. We're still increasing our expenditures, which is where we are, why we are where we are today. Okay. So this kind of goes back to our levy rates a little bit that we talked about during the bond issue. So you've got your non-general fund levies that are worked into the bond, or worked not worked into the bond, worked into our overall levy rates. Those non-general fund things would be like your management level levy, your ISL, your cash reserve levies and things like that. And then your general fund is obviously that uniform 540 from the state. And then everything above 540 would be local property taxes that make up that equity piece of the state funding formula. So this is a really awful, terrible bar graph up here. So I don't like it because it's all smushed together. So I just made a different chart here. So you can kind of see that these would be those, like those general fund levies here, purple. So that's the combined district cost levy, your instructional support levy, your cash reserves levy, and these would be the non-general fund levies like management. Our Pearl levy that we have is like 13.5 cents. That's what we use to pay like our lawn service and snow removal and things like that. Our board approved Pebble are both $1. That would be again for things like buses and stuff like that. Our debt service levy, again, we paid off that general fund debt, that GEO debt in 2023. So we have no outstanding debt, which is great. And that's where our total levy is right now. Okay. So then you have your authorized unspent balance amount and our ratio. You can again kind of see what that ratio has done over the past few years. So again, at one point, yeah, we had 3.5, 3.7 million as our ending fund UAB that carry over to the next year, which is awesome because it's authority as well. Just because we didn't spend it, we still have the authority to spend it the next year, which is great. But then you can also see how that's declined significantly over the past 2 years. Okay. And then I just put this UAB ratio, in terms of state average. I should say compared to the state average of other schools. So you can see like FY, 21, 22, 23. We had a pretty good turnaround from FY 18, 19, and 20. Then FY 21, 22, 23, like I said, we're well above the state average as far as our UAB ratio. Then we kind of started spending some more money in 2024, FY 24, 5, we were well below that. So we definitely took out a lot of those reserves that we had through spending in FY 25. Here's our general fund revenues versus expenditures. So you can kind of see over the past few years, I didn't put the amounts in for the general fund revenues and expenditures. I just did the difference there. So you can kind of see how we've overspent in FY 24 and FY 25 to the tune of about $2.2 million there. Actually, I think that's actually probably more like 1.2. Start putting those categoricals in there as well. But again, this is just general fund. So when I say categoricals, that means like we've overspent title, we've overspent preschool, we overspent at risk or whatever it was, or didn't use those dollars. So again, that $2 million out of that UAB over the last 2 years is starting to catch up with this. Any questions about the financial stuff? I could probably put a lot more things in here, but I just wanted to include that as a piece of the enrollment, because as you see the enrollment go down, obviously this is kind of the impact on our general fund there too. Okay, so student demographic data, again, you can kind of see these bar graphs here. A lot of our student demographic data does not get certified until the winter beds document that we have to submit. So a lot of our demographic data will be certified at that point. So this is all through 2025. Obviously, this is just students, white students versus students of color. So we've kind of remained in that low teens for the last probably 5 years there, with the majority of our students obviously being white kids. You can obviously see here with the students of color, how they break down into those different demographic groups. So obviously the largest piece for us would be obviously Hispanic, and then next would be Native American and as well. Okay. Male, female. Oof, boy, not a lot of variation here, especially in 24, 25. We were exactly even 50-50 for males and females. Hardly ever see that happen. Well, I guess in 2021 you did too. Students with IEPs versus students without IEPs. Again, so looking at students with IEPs in 24, 25, we're at 16%. I think we're about 12% now, if I remember that correctly from DeLand's document. So we've actually blocked quite a few special ed students for this year, if I remember correctly with that. Okay. Again, ELL versus non-ELL. We really don't have a lot of non-English speaking students in the district. High Point obviously was 1.3% back in 17-18. We're down to 0.2% in 24-25. And this might be an area too, when we start thinking about attracting students to our district. If we can say that, hey, we've got a pretty robust ELL program here, that might be something that is a pretty low cost. It doesn't generate a lot of additional funds through waiting. But it could be something that, hey, if we could say that we've got dedicated ELL services at every building, that might be something that could help us draw students into our district. Okay. Low SES versus non-low SES kids. Again, we're knocking on the door of about 40%. I would say that probably at the high school, we're probably a little bit typically low. Lots of times we don't get families to fill out those waiver forms in 9 and 12 unless they need, unless they need something, right? So if we're doing driver's ed, for example, and my parents are like, wait a second, I want my kid to take driver's ed. I want to get the free and reduced cost for that. I'll fill out my forms to do that. And then that company usually honors. So typically we'll see a lot more of that low SES paperwork come through for middle school and elementary kids. I'd probably say that we're probably more like 43%, district-wide. Matt, would you agree with that?
Different, right?
Yeah.
A number of years.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This was something that I wanted to look at just for the heck of it, because I found something on the DE website about, how many or how, are your identification rate for kids for tag or ELP services. So I just kind of took an average there, past 5 years of, average 10 below, so that the districts with, student demographic or student populations 10 fewer than us, like Woodbine and like Central Decatur and things like that, that were below us on beds, and those that were above us. And I wanted to see what our identification rates were compared to some of those other smaller districts. This is one of the areas that I think we might need to look at as a district, is identifying more kids for tag and ELP services. I mean, when you look at our average across the last 5-6 years, well below what other districts our size are tag ELP programs. And again, we have certified teachers here. It's not like we don't have them. So that would be another area that if we could build up our tag program and do some more, I guess, PR with our tag program, that we could get maybe some families to enroll here to come back. Again, that 5.9% identification rate plus service rate, I would say is pretty low for schools our size. You don't want to say that everybody can be in tag, but at the same time, that's pretty low compared to some other schools our size. Okay, staffing data. So also, because one of our goals is teacher retention, I threw some numbers up here that show how our retention rates compare to the rest of the state. Again, this is from the Iowa School Performance Files. You can jump on there and see. This is kind of our overall retention as a district. And then we start looking at things like full-time staff. So you can kind of see these are done in 2-year grade or 2-year bands. So from 23 to 25. So you can see that in 23, we had 56 full-time staff, and then through 24, 25, retained 48 of them. So the purple bar there is everybody, and then was retained for the following year. So 66 to 52, 63 to 47. So you can see those retention numbers. These are just raw numbers here for full-time staff. This would be all EM teachers. So whether they're full-time or part-time, these are just teachers. So you can see from 23 to 25, we had 50 teachers, and then we retained 44 of them for the next year. Okay. Same thing for new teachers here. So 2-year spans. See in 23, 24, we had 7 new teachers, and then 24, 25, we retained 5 of them. Obviously, there was a huge gap, and this is kind of a statewide number in 21, 23, from 9 to 3. That trend was very, very obvious or apparent across the state. Due to a lot of teachers got out after COVID and said, "I'm not doing this anymore," right? So it hit us too. Career teachers, this would be people who are not teachers. So after your second year, after your second year, your third year on, you're considered a career teacher. So again, we obviously have higher retention of our career teachers than we do new teachers here for sure. So except for again, 21, 23. This could also be cost too in 21, 23, not only COVID, but I know there was a lot of payouts and retirement assistance, early retirements given after COVID there as well. So that could have been part of it too. Student attendance data. I really don't have a whole lot of concerns here as far as our average daily attendance for kids. I think our attendance rates here, just K-12, I think are absolutely outstanding. Kids are in school pretty much every day. They're supposed to be here. They want to be here. I think that's great. So you can kind of see our average daily attendance for low IEP kids, low SES kids on this as well. This kind of rainbow chart here on the next slide is kind of see certain cohorts of kids as they go through. If anything happened to their attendance as they went through our system. So you kind of see if it's red, that number would be below the state average. If it's green, it's above the state average. So when you go back to the bar graphs, you think, oh my gosh, we're doing pretty well. Look at it in terms of specific grade levels. you can kind of see that we have a lot more red than we have green. And so the reason I want to look at it like this is I want to see, are there any trends that we're seeing across either grade bands in schools or specific grade bands that we're like, hey, we need to do something a little bit different here to kind of boost up our average daily attendance compared to the state average there. Okay. Next piece here is really just more about chronic absenteeism. Obviously, that would be kids who miss more than 10% of the school day or school year, I should say. And again, East Marshall is, well below the state averages for chronic absenteeism. Overall, also low SES, also IEP kids as well. Actually, in 24-25, we were a little bit above the state average for IEP kids, chronic absenteeism. Again, that would be K-12, so I can't really tell you exactly what school that's likened to. Again, same thing here as far as that rainbow chart for chronic absenteeism. Again, red would be the percentage above the state average, green would be below the state average. So you can kind of see, if you look at that vertically throughout the years, you might say, oh, hey, we've got something going on here in second grade. We had 3 years where we had some, a higher percentage of chronic absenteeism, but right here in ninth grade during that time, 17-18 through 2021, we had a higher percentage of chronic absenteeism. 10th grade seems to be, there's some red there, obviously, but again, that kind of is dependent on, the year. But again, you can see those classes diagonally as they kind of matriculate through the system to see if they've got attendance issues within that class there too. Okay, some historical student achievement data. Mark, are you doing fast?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, so this is just comparing our fast data, K through 6 against the state. Fall a little short compared to that 8% that we want to get to. Again, those have been our goals, to reach that 80%. This is comparing K through 3 and 4 through 6 compared to the state. So that we start back at 2018, 2019. Slide for this.
So go back to that last slide really quick. So the reason that's broken up the way it is because that was when we had different building configurations. So 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, 21, 22. We had 4 through 6. They were considered middle school kids, right? And we've had K students more. So I don't know.
So I appreciate that. So we have that representation 25. In fast, this is comparing our again K through 3, 4 through 6. This is state fall, the fall spring growth.
What happened in 21-22 that those K through 3 kids were like way above the state. Yeah, they had a lot of growth.
The K through 3 kids, that 35%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of wonder too, if like some of the COVID effect of pushing a little bit more at home learning. Yes, those kids are reading, doing those things.
That might be the year where they really focused in on the.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
21, 22.
Yeah, I know it was right around there. I can't remember. But the kindergarten came and did that.
I think he did their presentation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 22.
that could
Yeah,
have been.
because
It's been a couple of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you can notice then.
That
exists too. Yep.
Do you have any questions for Mark about the fast or fast literacy stuff? Yep, yep. Okay, so now we're kind of getting into ISASP data, so this would be third grade through 11th grade for ISASP, and this would be, literacy. Or reading, I should say. So I just realized that I screwed up on the label there. It says East Marshall K-12. It should be East Marshall 3rd through 11th because that's who takes the ISASP. Yes, it's reported out as a district, but it does not include K2 or seniors. So you can kind of see there, our overall proficiency, we are above the state average for the last few years, at least we have been, which is great. So that's something to obviously be proud of. We haven't, really been close since probably 18-19 in terms of our reading scores, versus the state. Next slide there just looks at our students' growth 3rd through 11th. So again, this is, how much they grow from the year before to the next year. And this is not a national standard score anymore. This is a score that fluctuates based on everybody else's growth. So it's a moving target. So if everybody grows really well in 1 year across the state, we don't grow so well, then obviously our growth rate isn't as high as everybody else's. Okay. But you can see that from 23-24 to 24-25, we had a 6-point growth across the district, which is absolutely outstanding. It beats where we were back in 18-19, 20-21, 22, which is great. Okay. Same thing here for low SES students. So that would be students on reduced lunches. Again, throughout the years, the higher than the state average compared to the low SES peers across the state. Same thing here as far as growth. So you can see that with the low SES category of students for reading, we've actually had some nice growth between 2024 and 24-25, which is something to be proud of. And I guess here's a great question for what would you rather see? Would you rather see proficiency or would you rather see growth?
I mean, growth is great.
Yeah.
Growth is great, but
Yep, it is. But still, we want to make sure that like we are,
Yeah.
80% proficient across the
Yeah.
board. That's what our goals are in every building.
I would say proficiency, just because I know their growth honestly, their growth can be affected by the day the student takes the test.
Subjective.
Yeah.
Yep, very subjective for how they did last year, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
Everybody
Yeah.
did really bad this year, because in the next year, we're gonna try really hard. and
Yeah.
Watch our growth spike.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. Same thing here as far as low SES, continue growth there. Reading proficiency as far as IEP kiddos. So last couple of years, at least, we've been above the state average for other students in IEPs. With reading, which has been great. Again, that should be 3rd through 11th, not K through 12th. Same thing for growth here. Took a little bit of a dip with IEP kids from 24-25, did not see as much growth there. Kind of peaking at 52, a 52 scale score growth there in 23-24, and dipping in 24-25. This for reading proficiency students of color. We're gonna report this here. We don't have a high enough subgroup to report in terms of our Iowa School performance profiles. We can still get the data, but we're not gonna get in trouble if we're not having students of color, reading at low levels, compared to everybody else, just because we don't have enough subgroup there. Same thing with growth here as far as students of color, kind of peaking in 23-24, then dropping in 24-25. Took kind of a big dip there, 63 to 54, which is kind of a concern, for me at least, obviously. 3rd grade. So Mark, I'll give this back to you. All right, give it to Ken. Okay.
Sounds good. So this is just comparing our 3rd grade ELA official advanced against the state each year. Again, we're knocking on the door there at 5, but still our goal is to get up to that 80%. It's just a breakdown of, again, year to year, still 3rd grade, but it shows breakdown of proficiency and proficient and advanced. Same thing with 4th grade, again. Just looking at last year, we're knocking on the door there. Get closer to that 80%. Yeah, the breakdown. Proficient, advanced. Good.
Yeah.
Sixth grade.
So we were at 77% compared to the state at 73% for proficient versus the state. Which is getting close. I think a lot of the work that we're doing now, the priority standards and assessments and the kind of that backward planning, you know. Starting to work with our staff on how to use their curriculum effectively, that hopefully will help. Sixth grade ELA, again, like you said, the breakdown, we have 11% that are advanced, 66% that are proficient. I'd like to see that 23% down there move up, that are not yet proficient.
If you use some quick drawings, you should.
Let's see, I told you, I should have him be my band. I don't like doing these clicker things. Okay, find the right placement. Right here. So yes, back. Sixth grade ELA, now we're to seventh grade ELA. Proficient, we had 82%, made that goal. Versus state at 74%. We only had 2% though that were advanced, 80% that were proficient, and 17% that are not yet. And that's what we want all of our charts really to look. Eighth grade ELA proficient advanced versus state. Eighth grade was at 84%, the state was at 80%. We had more advanced kids, 10% there, 74%, 16%. And not too bad.
You want me to run for you, Matt, or do you want to do it? You do it. Okay,
Kevin.
okay, Kevin. I'll do it, that's fine.
Good, you're gonna zap it? I could have used your help.
Okay, you can tell me where to go.
Our ninth grade class, obviously, you can see, scored very well last year. Kids worked very hard. A few groups, when they came in, we just as an academic class, I can say, we had very few favorite freshmen, but a long time. They're a highly academic class, they're good to work with, you can pick slide, you can see, you know, 7 or 8 advanced, 89 is a great score for anybody. 10th grade, we're a little above state average, about 76, a little under that 80%, but still working there, consistently staying above the last 5 or 6 years above the state average. Again, a good group, which is interesting there, 22% of them were advanced. You know, it's sometimes when you look at these scores, break them down by class, you find out, you know, you can have pockets of a really good average group, or you can have a group like this that has a whole bunch of high flyers. You know, but unfortunately, we have a number down there at the bottom. Still want to get higher, want to get too proficient. 11th grade, pretty similar to this 10th grade, 76%, not quite at that 80, but you know, getting there, doing pretty well. Every year there, pretty consistently above state average again. Their breakdown, 11% are advanced. Our department has done a good job of keeping our kids pushing that 80% all the way across the board of the entire building.
Okay, so again, this is just kind of our proficiency, so you can see those grade levels as they go through the system. So obviously what we want to see is growth every year for those kids. So having a few more kids proficient or a few higher percentage proficient as they kind of matriculate on through that system. So 3rd grade all the way through 10th grade or 11th grade, I should say. What does that look like? You know, can be up the ante every year with those kids and get a little bit higher percentage of proficiency. And again, that's the goal for us. Okay, math data here. Again, you kind of see us, though I don't have 24, 25 in there. Well, this data's no good then. Let's all go home. I have no idea why that's not in there. I check this really quick. See something. Oh, it's going to sound like my power, but my sound like my gauge. I'm sorry. Well. That was good. Okay, well, I guess we're a little bit old on the data here, but you can kind of see here as far as I know I've got it, I just haven't updated the PowerPoint, that's completely my mistake, shoot. Anyway, so you can kind of see our math proficiencies there. I do believe I have, when I start getting.
Starts back up.
Yeah, third grade, okay, that's where I put it in, shoot, I didn't do the overall district stuff, that's my mistake, so I'll just give it to, I'll get back, I talk about third and fourth.
Right. So again, third grade, this is just comparing it to state, our goal is still at that 80%. You know, and I will say with, ELA and math, we've got some good curriculum lately in the last 2 years. You know, normally when you get a new curriculum, it does take 2 to 3 years to fill in those gaps. And, you know, I'll go back to ELA. I will say before benchmark, things were a little bit loose. The curriculum was a little bit looser. That benchmark tightened things up, but that's when we see some huge gaps. So using that time to try to catch up, there's a lot of reteaching going on. Sometimes feel like teachers feel like they're not going forward as fast as they should, or the students feel that stress as well. So, again, trying to fill those gaps up. Again, our goal is still getting that 80%. Get there, the breakdown, proficient advanced. They're in our fourth grade. So getting up there. Breakdown. That's great. You asked me to run this? or you-
Why don't you run?
Okay, I got you.
I'll trust you.
Got it.
Okay, so we have sixth grade math, we have 66%, definitely not where we'd be, so with state be at 72%. Sixth grade math, we had 9% that were the high flyers, 57% that were proficient, and 34% that were. Seventh grade math, 61%, in 24, 25, and state was 71%. 0% that were advanced, 61% proficient, and 39% not. Eighth grade did good, we had 86%. And that's right where we want to be, higher. 16% were advanced, 70% proficient, 14% not yet.
Ninth grade there, you can see we're about 74%. Quite at that 80, but state average. 7% they're advanced. 10th grade, 72%. Same time, I think when you go to the next slide, you see the same type of score there that we had in English, where we got over 20% advanced, which is an excellent score. But definitely got some students working on there that are not efficient. 11th grade, very similar, down 72%. Advanced.
So again, there's that proficiency breakdown, and kind of see if you go diagonally where those kids are. Again, red below the state average, green is above. So you kind of follow them all the way through as a class. Again, 1920 is that COVID-19 year where kids did the test. New science either. This is great. Can I go home now? No idea, what I did not do there. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with fifth grade science. Oh, wait a second, I'm just gonna let you know.
Okay, so our fifth grade science, just a couple slots here for fifth grade science, so, 55% compared to 64. And then break down. Bring that advanced stuff, that not yet, or that down.
What's happening in fourth and third and fourth grade science part for you guys?
As far as,
Like time spent in terms of like science, lessons, things like that.
so in our last, scheduling update on this year, they do have set time for science. Yeah, after there, prior to that, I'm not quite sure what was done.
Right.
I mean, last year we had some time in there that, and I'm not gonna lie, a lot of times in elementary or science and social studies fluctuate here because I spent so much time on ELA and that, but there is designated time there.
So were you in that conversation with Melissa and Sarah and I, we started talking about more like non-fiction science stuff?
Yes.
So using some of the literacy block to tackle some of that technical science stuff.
Yeah.
So like, it's not just, we're not just doing this 90-minute uninterrupted block of literacy, which is like mandated by the Eli legislation, but like, it's not so much like always reading fiction, always reading poetry and different genres, but you can bring in some of that nonfiction, be awesome for like science and social studies, getting some of that content knowledge while you are practicing your nonfiction reading skills. Yeah, absolutely. So that would cover some of that, but I'm not sure if you got that far yet or not.
This is brought in some books, this last week that we started looking at. And trying to build up with libraries.
The nonfiction stuff, or was it specific to science stuff or not?
A few science, she's still looking a little bit further into that.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, go on.
I hope you're right. Ready.
Okay, so 62%, it's supposed to state 70%. We know that we've struggled in the past few years to even keep a science teacher, so I know that Ms. Stone and Ms. Hooper, they're both working really hard with the SciEd curriculum, and so we're hoping that that's gonna boost those scores up. And it has some kids though that are advanced 12%, 50%, and then I guess I get that 38% off the kids.
Fifth grade's next time the ISAF keep, test science. So see, we scored pretty well. We just under that 80%. Obviously the 10th grade group and that group also got high flyers. So next you'll see almost 20% of them were advanced. So, group of kids, bringing scores, points and be at that 80%. Yeah, so post-secondary readiness is kind of a look at, how, our kids and where they're at compared to the rest of the state. There's a whole bunch, some of it's grad rates, some of it's, other stuff. We'll jump through that's our grad rates, broken down by each grade or each the different areas. First one, I think, was the whole grade. Second one's SES. We do very well above the state in almost all of these things. The state does allow us a 5-year cohort, so we do have some kids. We have 2 this year that actually turned after not making it 4 years, one extra semester. They are going to get their diplomas, so kudos to them for coming back and sticking it out. We've had over the years, we've had a number of kids that 5-year that have come back and taken advantage and gotten that diploma. So done pretty consistently above the state average there too. Last one, that was SES. So here's pretty similar. ACC participation. You can see we were pretty constant there, and then all of a sudden COVID hit and it changed everything. After that, obviously we're considerably lower. One thing I attribute that to is a number of our kids go right down the road. 40% of our kids go to MCC. Some go to DMAC, some go to Kirkwood. The community college did not require the ACT. And at this point now, none of the regents actually require the ACT to be taken anymore. So if they're going to Iowa State UNI, it is not required to take the ACT. Many of our kids do not take it. As you'll see, 21, 22, a little bit different situation there, but
So the same question I asked the other day, if your kids don't take it because they don't need it, it actually gets counted against you.
yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we have a huge number of kids that go right down the road to MCC. They do, the ACT is about $100 or $100 plus to take. If they don't really see a reason that it's gonna benefit them, whether that's scholarships, whether that's, potential, financial aid, which if you're going to community college, it's not. So many of our students just don't really see a reason to take it. Low SES, very similar, most of those kids that kind of track follows the same pattern. That's our ACT scores, which figures, it determines, students' potential ACT success rates at college, which is usually a score of 22 or higher in composite. You can see that we've scored above, our students that do take the test, obviously score pretty well. Which for the most part of those kids that are probably some of our, ones who are looking for scholarship money, looking for higher, better chance to get into some of the better schools. There's, 54% of our students are scoring at that success rate versus the state, right around 4 to 6. ACT participation is again going to be low. Just from sheer numbers. Our state success rate is high, our participation is low, but the kids we do have taking it are doing pretty well. That's what that reads. This is number of our students, percent of our students that are taking post-secondary coursework versus the state. Clearly, we have a number of kids taking, and our numbers now will be even higher. The last couple of years, I can tell you, we're probably pushing 85 to 90%, I think, of our current classes that have taken post-secondary work. So that trend will continue to go up, I'm sure. Our kids are taking advantage of, the MCC classes that we have. Same even our low SES kids, obviously it's a bigger advantage for some of them that might not have the money to pay for college. Certainly they are taking advantage of it. I think that's putting all those together on the same graph.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's got to be combined. This is post-secondary intent and versus state post-secondary intent. These are when kids leave us, seniors leave us, we do whatever their intentions are. We ask them, are they planning to go to college? They're planning to go to work, military, whatever their secondary intentions are. For many years, that graph's a little deceptive in the fact that you're only looking from 70% to 90%. That's not a 0 to 100. So even though you do have a steep decline there, we did go below the state average there for a couple of years. We've been right at state average or above. In the last 2 years, I think we were back over 80% of the kids' intentions of going to college. The next one is who actually goes to college, which is interesting. I can tell you that, historical data is whatever percentage you say they're going to college, usually 80% is kind of our average, 75 to 80. The ones that actually enroll drop about 10%, and that's about how many enroll. And then the next slide, I believe, that's FAFSA. That's how many are filling out the FAFSA. I can tell you the last couple of years, we made a pretty concerted effort by our counselor, Lindsay Taylor, now Ms. Hammond, and Terry Huckford are working very hard trying to get as many kids as we can fill out the FAFSA. We talk about it in our senior meetings. We talk about it all the time. They give us like a monthly report, so we know where kids are at. Do a pretty good job of getting after as many kids as we can, get that filled out so they qualify for financial aid. This is CTE concentrators versus state. So a concentrator is someone that takes at least 3 semesters in an CTE area. So in other words, their shop or family science are basically taking at least 3 semesters. There's some concentrators, and there used to be completers. I don't think they do completers now, but concentrated means kids that are not just taking one random class, they're actually spending some time in there and getting a little bit of background. As you can see, our numbers jump 21, 22. 76% is a good score, and I think we're probably pretty even with that in the generals. Knowledge level course, state there, this is sort of okay. This number of kids that are taking some type of college level class, we're pushing 85% of that's our senior class that year. That we've taken. All, that's not the whole building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I can't,
Yeah, they do it for all.
okay, the 85% of this building.
85% of the students are taking their college level course, is that what you're
I
saying?
think it's 85% of that graduate class, probably.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, of the
Yeah.
graduating class,
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
yes.
Which is, we have our kids are doing a great job of taking advantage of the opportunities they have.
I was thinking that, yeah, I was thinking, but we like Peterson too, but
Oh, yeah.
but these numbers don't reflect that, I'm sorry, yes.
We have a lot, but we don't have 85%.
Right, yeah, yes, thank
I still
you, I'm
have
sorry.
it. So back here is, East Marsh graduate post-secondary enrollment. So that's where they're going to school. As you can see some of those years, we didn't have anybody in 4-year stuff at school. Enroll in a 4-year public institution at 21. If you've watched these graphs, 2021 year was kind of the outlier. As you can see, that bar graph takes a dip on every single thing. That was year after COVID. That was, the different graduating class. There's a number of factors that went into that. But you can see, that's just kind of good to know where our kids are going, but you can see, there's that 2-year public. That's most likely MCC. Post-secondary enrollment, that's within 1 year, so that means they went to college 1 year. I believe they're still in college after 1 year of graduation. So that's why I was talking about the number that enroll is usually here, the number that say they're gonna go is about 75, 80. The number that actually goes about 10% less. By the time you get 1 year in, it drops another 10%. So, we were still at 68%, which is well above state average. Unfortunately, when you get to 2 years and then 4 years, it gets lower. Basically, rule of thumb, it's almost whatever, how many ever say they're gonna go to college? 4 years later, half that number graduates. That's pretty much state average, and that's pretty much been our average as well. So there's our 2nd year enrollment. Now, class of 2021 is a bad one to end on there. I think we would go up a little at 2022, but I have talked to Kevin, in some cases. Our information might be a little deceptive because we have kids that take an entire year. By the time they leave here, they have 1 year's worth of college already done. In some cases, they have 1 year's worth of welding. So they could go over there in 1 year and get a certificate, potentially get their AA and, have a degree, at least in a 2-year degree setting. So our numbers could be a little lower because of that. I'm not gonna say that it's all our kids have a 1 year have a degree over there, but 2021 is not a good year to get in that graph on though.
Yeah.
I think our numbers probably back up after year 22, 23.
Is there a metric that tracks, and I don't know if the state does this, but like at 4 years after graduation, how many students have completed a degree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wondered from the perspective of like, does that capture students completing a certificate, a diploma, anything through a community college in addition to?
It's unfortunately, usually the data is like 2 years behind all the time.
Okay.
Not really be able to figure out who made it. got it.
Yeah.
So if you turn around, I think Mr. TV is gonna find it for you. This post-secondary readiness website is a pretty good website. So right there's those trends I was telling you. That black line is the ones that say they're going to college. The blue line right below the boxes are how many enroll in college. And then down below, that's how many were there, I think, after 1 year, 2nd year. And then the light blue, all the way to the left, see it's back, it's literally 4 years behind for some reason. That's how many completed 4 years. Or is it, it's a 4 line.
The grad class of 2018.
So how many completed it within, but I think they have 5 years.
Within 6 years.
6 years, yeah. So that's the problem with the data is, they go back 6 years. You got a long time it's always way behind. So, but you can see the blue line, take the light blue line and the black line, and it's, a lot of times it's pretty much chopped down. But those trends are, if if you look at other districts and look at other across the state, that's pretty much very close to average. I mean, our trends are very similar to the state trends.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I say, I know that 35% of the graduating class took,
A college class.
is there data that shows finish that or what kind of score they got when they went off campus?
Oh, well, we don't, once they leave here, that's the problem. We don't get any information once they leave here.
You mean,
For us to even know, like us to even try to figure out whether kids go on to college, graduate, all we can do is surveys. And we get back, post-secondary survey for a high school return is usually about 25%. So like, if we sit, even if we sit there at home, we get about 25% of the graduate class to respond to us even 1 year after high school. So it's hard for us to collect that data and to find out, did they go on to college, graduate, where they at, what happened?
So I guess I'm wondering if they're like junior, take up the MCC. You don't know if they complete that.
Oh, yeah, we get their grade. We know that they passed it. So we know exactly how they did while they are here, but once they leave here, we don't have any.
That's what I was working for, this data for the time they're using at school.
Yes, we get grade reports. We know exactly what grades they got.
Those credits come up.
Yes.
Or they're transferred here.
They count for, yes. I mean, usually 3 credit is somewhat equivalent to 3 credits in class, but there counts for 1 credit here. But there are like a 4 counts for like 1.3 and we kind of prorated that way. Yep.
Thank you. Sorry, that was long.
you need to approve it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I make a motion to approve the state of the district presentation.
Can second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed.
Yeah, this is the hard copy that you have on the table. Again, it's not for public dissemination. Once we get the maps figured out, in this, we'll give this to local law enforcement, fire departments as well, just so they have an idea of what we're doing. Again, Kim Elder and Ben Gurn met with us to kind of go through this. So, a lot of the stuff that we had talked about with them, we're already doing. We clarified some of our evacuation sites and reunification sites for each building, in each community. Again, not something for public dissemination, but we have some messaging things in there as well, as far as how we're gonna message parents in case of an emergency, where to let them know they can hook their kids up, some things like that. Some enhanced things for like bomb threat checklists. But again, it's pretty, I'm not sure how. I guess it's more detailed than what we had before, but it's less detailed than the flip charts that you have, right?
I don't know, I feel like there's more detail on that than there was in the flip charts.
Okay, this is better than charts. Okay, so the next step for us is then to take this and then to do like an emergency. 1 pager for teachers, so like what to do with a bomb threat, what to do with an armed assailant, what to do with a chemical spill, what to do with student suicide, just a 1 pager to have in the classroom. Not that we're gonna post where like our evacuation sites and unification sites are, we don't wanna do that, but as long as teachers have an idea, as long as they know what to do, I think we're okay.
An elementary map on here, aren't you?
That would be like a building map. Yeah, that's the last thing I have to do is find building maps for this, like a electronic copy of it. On there for fire department EMS. And the other thing that we talked about too with Ben is that we'd like to at some point try to figure out how they can get access to our camera system. So Marshall County Sheriff's Office could get access to our camera systems. I don't know that our current camera vendor that we go to, we have a live URL that we can use. But if we upgrade our camera system, that would be something that we could have a not a public URL, but like one that we could give to Marshall County, Sheriff's Office, that would be awesome, so they could see inside the building, which would be awesome, so. We're getting there, not yet, but we're getting there, so.
Right. Can I get a motion to approve the emergency operation?
I can make a motion to approve the district emergency operation plan.
You can second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We're gonna go to approving SDRC request, please.
Yeah, this would be, for spending authority for holding the school out is that not out of account. So if we think about students that we're gonna have to pay tuition for, so those last probably 10, 11 that we had after the certified count, like we'll have to have, spending authority request from the SBRC to pay for those students. So I just said the spending authority is not to exceed $100,000. As long as we have this board approved, it will not be $100,000. As long as we've got two not to exceed that approved, then we'll have the authority to pay for those open enrolled out kids to other districts.
Can make a motion to approve the SBRC request for increased allowable growth. Of not to exceed $100,000 of authority.
I can second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next we're gonna do approve the electrical line easement on the investment.
Yeah, this would be, the middle school for Interstate Power. The city of Gilman, I think, is contracted with Interstate, I want to say, to put their power cables underground. So this would be a small power station on the southeast corner of the middle school lot.
This orange box.
Yep, that
Okay.
one box right there.
Okay.
That's where that was going. They need to have.
Down on the
easement
cover.
down for approval for that.
Isn't there already a box there?
I don't believe there is.
There isn't? Okay. I always thought there was something down in the ditch right there.
Over.
Okay, maybe that's what it is. I mean, I've walked that way a million times, so.
Is that pretty much the same thing that just got done doing in Laurel? Okay.
I'm,
Get $1 for it.
Yeah.
I know,
A
I saw
whole
that.
dollar.
Makes it more appealing.
Got one of those big green boxes right outside my house out in the country.
Maybe they should put a
I-
windmill
pardon?
instead. They're worth more.
I don't believe I got anything. I have to watch them dig it in.
I make a motion to approve the electric line easement for, on the middle school property.
I can second that.
Right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed. All right. You don't have any resolutions?
No.
Then we can go to board discussion.
They want to do chapter 3. Yeah. Okay, people.
All right. We'll take
Right.
there's last-
Can we put that down
Too long?
English or hard? Have some for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, here.
Uh,
I included just-
I have an extra one for Alice.
Passing down.
No.
Whoops.
Oh, we need more.
There's some for the administrators.
Who's the?
Andrea did that.
Bless her heart.
You're supposed to participate, friends over here.
I know that.
You don't even,
Making fun of me because I put sticky notes in.
you don't even
That's how I
need,
do it.
whoops, you don't even need, I don't know, Matt, do you wanna? Happy, okay. Yeah, this is the organization. So chapter 3 really, to me, felt like it was looking at maximizing learning in the classroom and student learning. And it opened with this statement. This was from page 56, and I wanted to read that. So you see, the greatest misconception in education is that our role is solely to teach lessons or deliver content. But our real job, our most important job, is to create experiences, ones so impactful that students will remember them 5, 10, even 20 years later. We all remember that one teacher, that one professor who changed the trajectory of our lives. It wasn't just what they taught, it was how they made us feel. They created moments that shifted our perspectives, challenged our assumptions, and left us with lessons far beyond the curriculum. So we kind of did the same thing with chapter 2, that said that it resonated with connection to our mission and vision, work that we had already completed. And I felt like this chapter did as well. So I would just ask, as you think back on your experience as a student, who was that one teacher or professor who changed the trajectory of your life? And what was it that he or she did for you? And how did they make you feel? Deep question for 9:34.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I can start that. I felt like as a high school student, I took every science class in the high school. And one of the teachers created a club that allowed for, it was called the Health Careers Club. And he arranged to have different healthcare professionals come in, whether they were vets, dentists, physicians. And it was at that I thought, okay, I was able to learn about like careers that I hadn't thought of, and gave me a pathway to be able to move forward, and it changed the trajectory of what I was planning to do, and also made it seem possible. So it's something that I felt like was a benefit for me. Anybody else want to share something?
I thought about that when they talked a little bit about, like letting students go, like letting them kind of explore their own passions, for sure. So my third grade teacher was one that like I could not sit still, and all I wanted to do was like draw maps and play with maps and things like that. So she would allow me to like stay in recess or stay in tag time. I hated tag, hated it. But then like I could just go crazy with like maps and things like that, and she just thought that was the best thing in the world. And like my behavior got better when she allowed me to do that, because otherwise I was kind of bouncing off the walls. So helping connect with your passions, I thought was, where I kind of resonated with that too.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think, teacher that comes to mind is in fifth grade, that teacher. Probably the first, was the first male teacher that we had in her. And, he made math fun, whether it was, learning our multiplication, throwing football back and forth through the class or around the world. I mean, I just remember learning was fun. And later on, he became, he was a high school football coach, so, take time in the summer, because I couldn't make it to weightlifting because of work schedule in the pool, lifeguard, all that fun stuff. But he'd take the time, 6 o'clock in the morning, to just for me.
Yeah.
And so, and later on, I had the opportunity to work with him as a principal, and,
Oh, wow.
so it was just a great experience.
And fifth grade was a long time ago, and you remember that?
Yes.
Like, I think, right?
Proud of that, so.
Anybody else?
Well, I had a high school health teacher, but I can't remember what grade it was, but we were all really like to joke around with her and stuff, and especially the important lesson she taught me was I was kind of a smart aleck sometimes, and so I got a C or something on the test, and I was just trying to be funny. No, I don't want to prove my grade. Didn't let me get it. Once I said, no, I learned that lesson, know the right time when you're joking.
That's fun. I remember at Iowa State, I had a professor that was, what did he teach? It was actually an ethics class, was the first class I took with him. And then I took a strategy, and like, it was like your capstone class that you take for your business degree. And he was a attorney in his normal day job, but did this for fun. And he made the learning environment fun in a college setting, like where we were having like real life discussions about things and dissecting things. And that's where I really I really enjoyed that, because I was starting to look at career opportunities, and HR was something I was interested in, and kind of got the feel for what that would be based on some of the conversations and the strategy conversations we had in our strategy class. Just were very, like, it taught me about strategy and thinking about the next step as you're working through something. So enjoyed that a lot.
Okay. Next part I have is that this chapter goes on to explain how an environment can be created where learning can happen by getting to know a student's story. helping students understand their why, planting seeds of belief, removing obstacles, dispelling fear and doubt, and being someone they can trust. How do we, as administrators or board members, enable this to happen in our district and with our staff and students? And how do we incentivize success or celebrate achievements? First, how do we enable that to happen? I think
It's about encouraging teachers to build those relationships with kids and show they have interest, show they care, and show that they will go out of their way to find a way to how the subject they're teaching applies to their life, but it could apply to their future. You know, it could be something that, while it might not seem important right now, surprise, surprise, sometimes the educators know a little bit more than 14 and 15-year-olds. So, you know, building those relationships with kids allows teachers to take care of some of the fears the kids have participating in class. It allows them to be open and honest about their own experiences. It allows them to be able to connect with those kids in a way that the kids trust what's going to happen in that classroom is for their best good. And, you know, those are the teachers you remember.
Yeah.
Also modeling, being vulnerable, admitting to students and like, I think teachers have a fear sometimes of saying, hey, I'm learning this right along with you, but that's the reality of teaching nowadays is you are sometimes learning right along with students, and it's good for them to see you fail and how you bounce back so that they can learn those skills.
I once called a teacher that, he said, because I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but he said, I spent my first 2 weeks getting to know my students, building that rapport. He said, once I build that rapport, the rest of the year is cake. And looking back through his career as a teacher, it wasn't never had problems with kids. And it was just building that rapport and getting to know students, making things.
That was something I always focused on when I was teaching at DMAC, was building rapport with the students. Kind of my first class with them every semester. I got used to this as they had me for more classes. I made them fill out a note card. That note card was the contact information, but also it was, tell me like where you work, where are you from? Just some things that they valued. So that way, when I was trying to find materials to put together for classes and stuff for lectures, I could try to pull some things that might be interesting to them. Because like if I had a group of construction students, I was totally different than a group of HR students. So I wanted to make sure, I was talking about construction companies, building my house versus talking about HR law that they didn't really care about.
I think it makes so much difference to know like that why for our students or for like people that we work with, understanding where they're coming from. And I think part of what we're doing with having people come to the board and we're celebrating the successes that they have had is just emphasizing the value that we place on whatever achievement it is that they've just done, whether it was sports or academics or whatever. I think it's just been a good bit of a turnaround to be able to say, we really are grateful. We see you. We're grateful for all the things that you're doing and the effort that you're putting into this.
Here that sometimes grinding a little bit pays off. I mean, for like our football team, I know it is hard to get a teenage boy up at 6 a.m. to go weightlift 3 mornings a week. And there are fights, but it's paid off. So,
Yeah.
I think getting to focusing on what students need and not what they need to do. I think sometimes we come at it from a lens of students need to do this. Yeah. And guess what? You need to do this as a teacher, right? But if we can start focusing on their needs, what do they need to be successful in class? Do they need that autonomy? Do they need this? Do they need that? If we can start knowing their needs because we know them as human beings, like they'll start to want to come to school and want to perform, and that connects into their purpose, right? I think we have to shift that mindset. I think in all of our buildings, right? To say, not about what they need to do, it's what do we need to provide to them
Yeah.
to help them be successful.
It's an accountability thing to them too, and their peers will be accountable. I had to laugh when Matt was going through the 10th grade data last year because it's class awesome. And I know some of those kids and how they banter back and forth about stuff, but they keep each other accountable. And that's probably one of the best things that has helped him succeed, is the fact that he has not only some teacher accountability, but also some peer accountability too. So it's just interesting to see all those different dynamics. Yeah.
I think go along with that, it says our staff, I feel like we have to find ways to celebrate them more too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Especially those ones that have been here for many years, how do you know, some people, so or when I was at West Marshall, they gave out little things for 5 years, 10 years, 20. Wow. But they did it.
I think it's good to hear those kind of things, that reminders that, I mean, staff want to be appreciated, and so, just, there are little ways, I mean, the breakfast. Mrs. Kraus sent us a thank you note, and she just said, this is a great new start, and I think just remembering things like that, we can do things like that through the year. And just say, we see you, we thank you, and it's sometimes a thankless job, and it's hard, and you spend a lot of time at home or whenever, weekends, but so.
Yeah, and just back to that kind of recognition point too, I think a good start has been doing kind of those spotlights on the Facebook page.
I always
Because
read
it
those.
has been kind of fun to see former students say, you're still here, Mr. Wu."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, staff, for those that feel like that, it's people against each other. And I'm like, well, I hope that's not what it's.
Is that what
happening.
makes people against?
He thinks that by bragging about yourself, and put stuff on there about yourself, that puts competition, and I don't know. if that's true.
Competition's not all bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And I'm like, well, that's a different lens than I look at.
Oh, I would have never.
it
thought
builds
that.
community.
No. but-
Yeah, it builds community, and I think
I mean,
it is.
we learned stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So absolutely. But yeah, no, I saw the one comment, oh, Mr. Bull, you're still here.
Yeah, I know,
But he's not that old.
Okay, that last area I wanted to look at was the principle that this author talks about, operating from a cup that's full in order to give support and energy to the task before us, whether that's showing up, ready to meet the needs of your job, or at the board table. Not just showing up, but doing so with empathy, ready to engage with and appreciate the unique stories of those you work with or encounter. And how, I mean, operating from that full cup rather than that scarcity mindset makes, I think, a huge difference. And I think you talked about it and even mentioned that scarcity idea, that like we can operate from fullness. And so how do we affirm our commitment to leading the district with compassion, fostering an atmosphere where others feel valued and understood?
I think being transparent with our decisions, I think being upfront with people, I think being clear with people, clear is kind, to kind of quote Brene Brown.
I know, it's my favorite.
Clear is kind. Yeah, absolutely. And I think just trying to be upfront with people about, what we're doing, where we're heading and how they fit into that. I think that's really important, to help them connect.
Okay, I think that's true.
And I think giving them a voice too is a part of that. I think, taking the time to listen when there are concerns, and likewise, to involve them in the decision-making. It's gotta bring people together in that process as well. I was having a conversation in a peer mentoring thing this last week, and that's exactly what we were talking about is, when you come up with a change idea, you can be the leader to lead it forward, but it's often better accepted if everyone needs it forward together.
Yes.
As a collective effort.
Anything else? Allison, you probably just want to jump in and. I need you.
Allison's glad that she only has to drive a couple blocks tonight.
Anything? All right, thank you.
That's great.
Who's doing the next chapter? Is it? I'll take it. I feel like I'm overdue. So, chapter 4. Yes.
It's really short. Oh, wow. We're getting the lucky one.
Andrew will get your book.
Oh,
I think, yeah.
Oh, you got one?
Megan left.
Okay.
Megan left it, yeah.
did she leave the school board members handbook to
I
you?
think so,
Yeah,
yeah.
she did, okay.
Yeah.
I had that sitting on my
That's a
desk. I was
great
gonna
book.
bring for him, and I forgot to.
Okay, now we need to move into exempt session.
Yes.
So.
We have a motion to adjourn regular session.
Yep.
And I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, you guys didn't get thanks for tonight, but thank you for all the stuff you guys did for the whole community. And all the countless hours.
It's a sigh of relief.
Yes, it is.
Listening to Kevin give his speech.
And no tears this time. Have a good night.
We're neighbors being near.
I know. Oh, get my